Welcome back to channel everyone. My name is Beluga the Jaegerist, and today we have another excellent podcast episode today. The podcast is going to be about, I really struggled to get a succinct title for this, because this is such a broad topic, and has a lot of complexities and branching points, but I think I got it down to the science. I think I have a great title for it. What was the point of Uprising Arc? And I brought along fellow YouTuber and friend Quick Binger, since he's our resident Uprising enthusiast. I also have my right-hand man, Mirror, here, and of course, my arch rival, supervillain Kinda. So, this is going to be somewhat different. I'm going to pose new questions during this podcast, and I hope we have enough people with strong opinions that I will just play devil's advocate for the other side. And I'm going to do this because I think that engaging in a debate / discussion will be about these points, will be very educational for the people involved. And so I'm expecting a really fun time. It should be very, very educational. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves, and then I'll start off with my questions.
You gonna go first?
Yo.
Benji, you're more famous. You should talk first.
Yeah, I'm Quick Binger. I made that one video about Kenny and Berthold and whatever.
And Rod.
Yeah, Rod. No, I mean, nobody watched that one because it's like bad quality. I might remake it, but yeah, I make videos.
Okay.
I like Uprising. Kenny's my goat, and yeah. All right, you talk, Lincoln. Who are you?
Who are you, Kinda?
Great question. I'm the #1 AoE and AOT scholar that you've never heard of, and I am the foil to Beluga, and yeah, watch out for my magnum opus coming out soon.
We will be plugging
Yeah,
it. We will be plugging it. Very true.
I'll be plugging it. I'll advertise it, man. I'll help with the production.
Mm-hmm. All right, gentlemen. So let's.
Wait, why don't we introduce Mirror then?
Oh, of course. How could I forget?
Oh. Well, I'm
Goat.
Mirror D Cameraman. I'm the one recording this entire thing.
You're gonna be speaking, right, during this. You're not going to be quiet recording.
Oh, well, sure. You
Okay.
guys are talking about Uprising, so yeah.
Based. Okay, great. So here's the thing. Here's again. What I say is that what I believe. I'm just gonna play devil's advocate, sort of. You'll see what I mean. It sounds kind of complicated, but you'll understand. So when it comes to Uprising, it kind of appears that it's, from a plot perspective, almost unnecessary. It's like Isayama creates a problem, which is that the Sarah Corps gets in trouble with the government because they want Eriwn, only to then sue the government and then go back to retrieving the basement in the area. And so it almost appears as though he's just extending the story by inserting this arc into here. So just to start off the conversation, what would you two, or three of you, what would you guys say about that? In response to that.
I mean, to be honest, Uprising has a very important thematic purpose that sort of foreshadows some future details within the story. And it does develop some of the characters a lot, such as Historia, Levi, Eriwn, and does set up a lot of important stuff in the future. It also has some insane plot revelations and plot consequences that have insane ramifications on the rest of the story. So I don't think it's really just like unnecessary. It's very necessary and has a good place in the story, and it arrives at the perfect time where you really need it.
What do you think is the thematic relevance of Uprising?
Thematic relevance? Well, it sort of, the first few seasons sort of had this idea that, well, it didn't really fully like support this, but like it gave off the impression that the government was like what you should listen to, right? Like how all the characters should,
I don't think
it
so.
had like this sort of, this is reflected in the openings of the anime as well. They sort of had this really nationalistic, sort of bombastic sort of theme, the openings, right? It's sort of patriotic,
Well, that was really, I agree with you. That was really mostly around the Servant Core. A lot of the themes are about glorifying the Servant Core, and especially the first thing. I think
the
something
Servant Core.
And the Servant Core was deeply unpopular with the broader public and the government. The military police didn't like them, which is the capital of the country, and they work for the king, and they were scorned upon by the populace. So I don't really know what you mean when you say that the government was portrayed as a good thing. Even the wall cultists were part of the government.
No. I agree. It was portrayed. It did have like some negative portrayal. So, for example, when they tried to kill Eriwn, they did the whole court case exactly. All that.
Yeah.
Definitely, that didn't portray the government in a good light. But it did like sort of the Servant Core. They had to follow the government. Like they had to sort of abide by their regulations and their laws, and sort of it did give off this sort of patriotic impression. Like anime, that like this sentiment is like what's spread around a lot when AOT first came out. It's like, why am I feeling patriotic for a fictional country, right? So it's sort of giving the it's supposed to be like believe in humanity, believe in freedom, believe in the Survey Corps. But it's because like these people don't really like understand what the Survey Corps really stand for, and that's like purposeful on Isayama's part. Like you're supposed to think the Survey Corps embodies sort of freedom and escaping the walls, escaping going into the outside world, journeying. But the Survey Corps, the true spirit of the Scouts is actually embodied within characters like Armin and Hanji, and they don't really.
Why do you say that?
They do see.
I'm glad you brought that up, Armin and Hanji and Brian the True Survey Corps, because I agree, but I'm going to pretend like I don't agree. Why were Armin and Hanji chosen to be commanders? It seems like a fault in Isayama's part. Armin and Hanji were, almost completely different than Commander Eriwn. So why would you say that they embody the Survey Corps, the spirit of the Survey Corps?
I talked about this in one of my videos, but if you want me to sort of shorten it, basically, Armin and Hanji both embodied the sort of the core trait of what a perfect sort of person would be in the AOT world. There's no such thing as like a perfect person in AOT because everyone is flawed, but they have the perfect sort of philosophy going into life. The perfect view of life. They have this sort of.
What is this view?
They have this curiosity to them. The desire to sort of discover what gives them pleasure in life and discover new things, and they don't just dream, but they appreciate. As Arwen says in 137, the little things, the little pleasures of life, and that's very key to what.
Didn't Eriwn also want to? Eriwn also have dreams. Didn't Eriwn also want to explore and get new things?
Yeah, Eriwn, he did, and a big part of Eriwn is that he kept looking to the horizon, kept searching for the outside world, searching for a freedom, and he never really stayed in one spot. But sometimes it's all right, to stay in one spot and just accept the status quo, accept where you are in life. Like Armin, he did want to go to the outside world, but he didn't let that stop him from still enjoying life, just enjoying being in the moment, right? He never looked for anything greater. He just looked for something greater because of his curiosity, but he didn't let it define him. He didn't let it take over his life.
Yeah, no, I don't. Of course. So are you saying that the Uprising Arc showed what the true spirit of the Servant Corps was?
No, it doesn't, but it does sort of set up a lot of that stuff. So Armin shooting someone, then having a very sort of allergic reaction to it. That sets up Armin's sort of more innocent spirit, and basically the Uprising Arc basically shows that there's brutal consequences that now they have to actually fight humans, right? That sometimes the Titans, your enemies aren't just these mindless monsters. Sometimes there's actual people with lives and families behind.
You're saying the Uprising showed the moral depravity of the Servant Corps, or started to introduce that theme?
It started to introduce that. There's more to the conflict than just Titans. It doesn't really. I don't really think it portrays the Servant Corps as a bad thing. It more like it portrays that.
It actually 100% does.
It shows that there's some brutal consequences to some actions, and that there isn't just this all united humanity that the first few seasons sort of gave the impression of. It's not everyone has the same views, not everyone has the same beliefs, not everyone is in agreement that even if everyone wants the Titans gone. They're not in agreement about everything. Even in the first few scenes, they set up that there's division even within the walls. You know, like with Demo Reeves, with the government, and the inner conflict with that. And there's just plenty of sort of the Uprising Arc finally sort of really focuses on that idea that there's no true union within the walls on anything.
Wasn't that already established in the court thing, in the military police fighting with the Pacific Corps?
No, that's just like a little taste of it, but the Uprising fully delves into that. It dives into that reality.
Okay, excellent. So, Kinda, what are your thoughts? Why is Uprising in AOT? What's the point of it?
Why?
Why
I can tell you what the main message of the arc of this story was trying to say was. I could tell you. I think the main point of the arc is like you could probably boil it down to Levi's little speech when he was saying like, "Oh, we're fighting humans now," blah blah blah. And then at the very end, he was like, "Oh, I'm not saying what we're doing is right. I don't know if what we're doing is right. We're just like doing like we're doing what's good for us, basically. Like we're doing the best thing that we know to do." And then they try to do this moral equivalency thing, like, "Oh, everybody's the same." Basically, what the story is trying to do, and how it comes off to me is different. Like, so what they're trying to say is that like, oh, actually, the Survey Corps is just as bad as the government, or whatever, or everybody's the same in this scenario. Everybody's doing what they think is best for humanity or themselves or whatever, and there's basically a moral equivalency between everybody and blah blah blah. And the Survey Corps is evil for doing this and blah blah blah.
Where do you see a moral equivalency being shown?
Well, when they torture that one guy and they like pull out his nails and shit, they're all like having fun, or not really having fun, but you know, like.
Oh well, no.
They're as she should have been, but like the story is basically saying, because like, you know, like he did his little speech about how, oh, I did this to like protect the walls, and like now it's your job to do it in the future, and they made a callback to it in season 4 basically, and like
they did.
So yeah, so if you want me to explain like the main theme of the whole arc in like 3 scenes, I can pick 3 scenes. There's Levi when he's giving them his little speech, and then he finishes his speech by saying, "Oh, I don't know if what we're doing is right. I'm just doing the thing that I regret the least," or whatever he said. I don't know what he said exactly, but something like that. And then there's the part where they actually cooed the government, and then Eriwn is talking to like Zachary or whatever in the caravan, and he basically just outright admitted that like, I don't know if this is best for humanity. I'm just doing this because you know, like I want to see the truth, blah blah blah. And then there's the whole Hanji thing where she tortured that one guy, and then the guy started saying, "Oh, you know, like we were doing what we had to do to protect stability, and now you have to do it," and blah blah. I would say those 3 scenes would probably represent the whole arc the most.
And you're saying you disagree with?
I'm saying I disagree with I disagree with the implication that the Survey Corps is morally equivalent to the fat aristocrats.
I don't think that they're saying the Survey Corps is a whole, especially since it's
or whatever the characters that we're following. Basically, I disagree that they're morally equivalent to the people that they're going against.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about Sahanis then. So, and you mentioned
Beluga,
in your.
Can I?
Of course.
I didn't really get to finish like a point that I said like in my part, but anyway, we kind of sort of veered off from the whole Armin thing. I more like sort of said that there's like division within humanity. But what I was trying to say with the Armin thing was Armin has an entirely different sort of attitude towards killing than anyone else in the Survey Corps. And sort of shows like yeah, I mean he vomits, he cries, he's sad about it, right? And basically Levi's basically like, we need to kill people now, where it's kill or be killed, you know. But the Titans are no longer the only threat. And Armin, he has trouble sort of accepting this. He has to sort of grapple with the burden of being a killer now. Right? Now this sort of shows that Armin is like more sort of, he's not as like hardened and used to killing as like anyone else there. I mean, none of the other, like John isn't used to killing either, but like he's like ready to accept it. But Armin, he like has way more like problems dealing and grappling with this sort of like thing. Are you saying something, Beluga? Because I can't really hear you.
I'm not saying anything.
Alright, yeah. So it sort of foreshadows that Armin is like different from everyone else, and he has a different view. He doesn't want to kill anyone if he doesn't have to. I mean, he does accept that he has to in the Uprising Arc, because in order to take down demons, you have to let go of our humanity or whatever. But in the final arc, Armin sort of accepts his true sort of mindset and rejects the sort of more kill or be killed kind of mindset by embracing his curiosity, his understanding, embracing those qualities that make him unique and special amongst all the hateful people who just have given up hope and they're just fighting to survive and fighting to maintain the status quo. Just all those people are no longer sort of what humanity needs, and Armin is what humanity needs at the end. And Uprising sort of like plants the pieces of that. So it shows that Armin is different from.
I don't see how Armin. I don't see how. Okay, I don't really see how Armin's. There's a dichotomy between Armin and the rest of the cast.
No, I mean they.
Because
No, I don't really think
else
like.
In the later arcs, so I don't know what you're trying to say is being planted in Uprising that gets fulfilled later on. Armin's just as ruthless as everyone else is in the later arcs.
No, yeah, he is ruthless, but like at the end, he does the damn Tokuno Jutsu thing. I mean, I know you don't like referring to it that way. It's not like meant to be an insult. It's just like.
Yeah. Well, what does that have to do with Uprising, though? What does 137 have to do with Uprising?
No, I mean it shows like how Armin like has a different approach to this. I mean, he does accept that he needs to kill, and he does become a very sort of ruthless person. He does kill a lot of people eventually.
Yeah.
He learns. He learns how to kill. He learns
between 137 and this whole philosophy of killing people.
Yeah, so Armin sort of accepts, like he embraces this sort of idea that you need to kill people, and sometimes there's no way to sort of avoid conflict. But then in 137, like Armin finally sort of goes back to like his more optimistic worldview, sort of his more childlike, worldview, the most pure worldview that he used to have before he was traumatized by the cruel world, and he finally sort of embraces.
Oh, okay, this is very interesting. Okay, I'm gonna want to camp on this for a little bit. Wow, this is okay. Very interesting. Very.
No need to be condescending, Beluga.
This is not condescending. I'm intrigued. I mean, I say very interesting. A lot of people take it as condescending, but it means a lot of things.
Yeah, I know. It means like you're curious about what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. So, how do I want to approach this? So, are you saying?
Yeah.
Is that?
Nothing. Go ahead.
So Armin had a philosophy he held pre-Uprising, and then Uprising happened. He turned himself into a monster due to the circumstances, and then something changed in 137 where he found himself again. Is that what you're saying?
No, he didn't have the philosophy before Uprising. He just realized at the end that that's like who he truly was deep down, but he never really he didn't really know.
So you're saying this is the first time he's realized this? This is the first time he's come to this epiphany?
No. He's always like had this mindset deep down, but it's the first time he really sort of notices, like realizes that's what he values the most. It's like looking at the leaf. He looks at the leaf and then he remembers, and he sort of comes to this sort of realization.
Very curious.
He thinks back. He thinks back to when he's running, and he thinks that back in that time. Back then, he had the thought that this was what he was born to do, right? So he sort of remembers a time from when he was a child, when he was pure, when he was untainted by the cruelty of the world, and that's what his core sort of character was back then.
So what would have happened if 137 happened earlier? Let's say 137 happens. Yeah, let's say he gets this realization in the season 2 finale. How this would have changed? How would that have changed the story?
What do you mean realization? Like he would need to talk to Zeke to realize this, wouldn't he?
No, let's just hypothetically say he sees a leaf and this happens. How would this have changed? How would this having this philosophy?
At this point, he hasn't killed anyone. He's still sort of a dreamer, you know.
So how would it change the story?
How would it change? If he had this exact same realization, he would be very traumatized by having to kill someone. Like, he would be even more so affected by this.
Would the plot change at all? Or would he do what he...
I don't honestly know, actually. It's an interesting question to ponder, but that's not really what this podcast is about, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm getting very distracted because this is such a novel idea. Anyway, that being the case, Kinda, I want to keep talking about this situation. So, can you explain to me, from your perspective, why you think that Hanji torturing Sans is permissible, but Sans torturing other people is not permissible?
Okay. Great question. Well, I see as what Sonus and the government are doing as, they may say it's for the sake of stability, but it's, in my opinion, actively malicious. They're basically just, you know, the clock is ticking. They're saving their own skins. You know what I mean? They're like, okay, if we die in 20, 30, 40, 50 years, it doesn't really matter because we're going to be dead. Whereas the Survey Corps is genuinely fighting a force that is malicious and doesn't have humanity's best interests at hand. So even though Sonus might claim, oh, we had to kill Armin's parents because, you know, we had to protect the security within the walls. We had to kill Eriwn's father because we had to protect the security. It's bullshit, basically. They didn't need to do that. They were protecting their own skins. Whereas the Survey Corps... Well, because they didn't need to do any of those things that they did. Like, the government that was in power did not have humanity's best interests at heart. They were just...
They're just what?
Well, they had their own interests at heart. They did not have humanity's best interests at heart.
Yeah, they did the Survey Corps, as you've already mentioned with Eriwn.
I mean, yeah, I know, like, the story likes to trickle in these lines from Eriwn, where, like, Eriwn is like, yo, I'm actually so evil and I'm so bad, and, like, I'm literally the same as these guys. You know what I mean? But, like, at the end of it, like, look at how he died, you know what I mean? Like, he in the end...
He changed.
Like they say, like a person shows their true face when they're about to die. Basically, he showed it. I feel like the story is trying to like put it in your head that they're morally equivalent, but to me, I just don't buy it because I don't see, especially Hanji and Levi, especially Hanji and Levi. Eriwn maybe. Eriwn maybe.
Well, Kinda, you mentioned that he showed his true self, you know, when he was about to die, which was something that was righteous and good. Not only do I believe that, obviously, Eriwn developed a character, he was a changed man, but he actually did not show who he truly was. He sat there and he watched the Survey Corps get obliterated, knowing he had a plan. He could have saved them, but he just sat there and watched as he was twiddling his thumbs, deciding whether he was going to be a good person or not. This you can obviously extrapolate this in the story, but Levi says this himself to Eriwn, that he just sat there and watched them die because he was just deciding whether he was going to be a good person or not. So when you say that he was righteous in the end, that's actually fallacious.
Nah, disagree. When push, I judge people by their actions, and when push comes to shove,
We saw the actions.
Eriwn multiple times, like with his mouth, he'd be like, "Oh, I value."
Well, I just told you an action.
I value seeing the truth more than humanity's survival. Blah blah blah. But when the time came for him to make a decision, he made a decision, and that decision did not cost any lives, because in the end it was the same result. So,
well, I told you action that he did that caused people to die that he could have saved. That the story explicitly
could have saved.
Yeah.
He could have saved them so that they can go kill themselves in 2 minutes.
I don't think you know what I'm referring to.
What are you talking about?
So I'm actually getting the line because maybe you forgot. So I'm gonna.
Are you talking about Return to Shiganshina?
I'm gonna refresh your memory. Yeah.
Is it Return to Shiganshina or is it something else?
It is. It is Return to Shiganshina.
I don't care what the characters say.
Well, it's what Eriwn did. I'm explaining to you.
Okay.
He had a plan. He had this plan, and he sat around while everyone was dying, and then he was deciding what he was. Yes. Because why are you laughing? I'm so confused. What's the?
Because he could have saved them so that they could go kill themselves one minute later.
No, the Survey Corps is depleted because Zeke kept throwing rocks. That's what happened. So if he initiated his plan earlier, the Survey Corps, not as many people would have had to die. The reason why the last Survey Corps, the reason why there was only 8 surviving members is because Eriwn waited because he didn't know if he wanted to sacrifice himself or not. So I'm saying that's an action that he did that cost people their lives. That's an action that happened.
You mean in the attack that had exactly one survivor?
Yeah, it had one survivor because the Sword Corps was getting killed
because of plot armor.
Huh?
Because of plot armor. Because somebody had to carry Eriwn back, and somebody had to be Flock in season 4.
No, I'm saying the reason there's only one survivor is because Eriwn waited so long to initiate his plan. This is explicitly stated.
I don't. Okay.
We're supposed to be talking about Uprising, right?
No, I'm talking about Return to Gotcha.
Yeah, this is an Uprising podcast, man.
Yeah, but we're talking about Uprising.
Okay, let me just say this. When I say somebody is good, I'm not necessarily saying that they're angels who are, they're all, what do you call? They're all like who's like a stereotypical hero. They're all like Goku heroes or something. All of them have dark sides to how they act.
No, I understand that.
And I also and another thing I can agree with. No. Here's another thing here's another thing I actually can agree with. I can say that without the benefit of hindsight, right? So without the luxury of hindsight, I can say that they were not equally wrong, but they were also quite wrong to do what they did. But with the benefit of hindsight that the story gives you, everything they did was justified by the end.
Well,
at least before the rumbling. But everything they did was justified, like at least in hindsight.
I don't know about all that.
Yes, because if they didn't overthrow the useless government, it would have been a ticking time bomb, and then they would have been wiped out. And you can make the argument, okay, better them get wiped out than the rumbling happen, but that's not really what we're talking about right now. Like, I'm just talking about in the context of parody, basically.
Yeah, before the rumbling. Yeah, if everyone's eliminating the rumbling, sure, you can say that. But okay,
like the Survey Corps overthrowing the useless government allowed them to fight back, and the rumbling to eventually happen, which wouldn't have been able to happen if the fat useless government was still in power.
I keep saying that they weren't. I mean, they objectively were not useless.
Whatever you say, bro.
They weren't. Anyway, so
let's talk about Mirror, man.
No. This moral equivalency that you're saying with Eriwn. Okay, so are you making the case that the story is lying about Erwin's morality?
I'm making the case that the story is trying to say that these two, there's like almost no distinction between them, and I think there's a very, very clear gap.
Okay, what's the distinction?
Every action that the Survey Corps did was justified by the end of the story in the in pursuit of the goal of protecting humanity, basically.
Okay, well, that's definitely a conversation topic that I'll leave for a later time. Sure, but in the case of with Hanji and the Asana situation, I feel to see why you don't see the clear connection between the two, because one of them was torturing people and suppressing people so that they could maintain peace in the island, which you say is fallacious, but I disagree. And then Hanji gets into power, and then she does the same thing. So I don't understand why you're saying there's a difference between the two.
When did Hanji do something that's equivalent to killing Armin's parents?
Obviously, like as far as the level of evils that you're saying, so their motivations when they did with the power that they had. So Hanji didn't need to kill anyone, but she was doing what the royal government was doing when she got to power, which was suppressing people, lying to people, so that she could.
I mean, if you wanna like cover your eyes with your hands and completely ignore like any like nuance or distinction, then yeah, I guess you could say that. But
like what? But what? I'm asking why is a level necessary when it comes to the themes of the story?
I mean, if you're trying to make the point that there is almost no distinction between these two sides, there should be no distinction. Like there should not be a significant distinction, but there is. When it comes to the justifications behind their actions, they may be doing the same thing, but they do them. The Survey Corps does them with more justification and less severity, basically. So that you can't really say that we're exactly the same, you know.
Well, the Survey Corps in War for Parity, the world government literally had the same motivation, which is to avoid the rumbling. So I don't know what you're talking about. We're talking about the difference between. They literally had the same motivation.
Did the what? What do you mean motivation?
They both had the same motivation, which is to avoid the rumbling. So
I said justification, not motivation.
Yeah. Well, they have it. Yeah. So we're talking about justification.
I don't think it's justified to execute a mother and father because they made a blimp or whatever, or they made a hot balloon. I don't think that's justified.
I understand
in the pursuit of protecting the island.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
No, I understand. I understand the degree in which they made the decisions was worse. I understand that. So, specifically when it comes to the themes of the story and the message the story is trying to share, the degree of morality, the degree of the morality of the certain decisions that they make is not entirely relevant in this case. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, look, if you want the point to land as you know, as properly as possible, there needs to be actually no distinction. If there is a big distinction between them, then the point that they're trying to land is much weaker than otherwise. So
there is no distinction in certain areas, but there's a distinction in other areas.
Okay, I mean, yeah, okay. You can say the theme did land to an extent, like to a very small extent, sure, but like I'm just saying it doesn't land as hard given the fact that
for you,
the Survey Corps is clearly like morally much more in the right than the former government.
When you say morally in the right, you mean by the level of action that they took, not by their motivations.
They had more justification to take those actions, and their actions were also less severe than the previous government.
Well, they had the same justification, both of them. So there's no distinction between the justification of their actions.
No, because like okay, so like if I come across somebody outside, and I say I'm a cop, okay, I'm a cop. I say I feared for my life, so I had to shoot. But this guy was the reason I said I feared for my life is because he put his hand up and he waved at me. He was like, "Hey, officer, how's it going?" And I shot him and he died. That is not justification because you were not actually in danger of losing your life, even though you may have said you were not. So when I say justification, I'm saying the Survey Corps actually had much more valid justification to take their actions that they did than the previous government had to take the actions that they did. So I'm not just talking about the stated motivation or the final goal. I'm talking about the actual justification for taking those actions.
I think a different definition of justification. Maybe if I use your analogy, will help. Basically, I guess you could say what happened is someone pulled a gun on the cop. One cop tased them. The other cop shot them. The world government shot them, but the Survey Corps tased them.
No.
Okay, great.
Not true. The pulling the gun, where you saying they're both pulling the gun is where the issue is. The government says this person pulled a gun on me, but what they actually did is they put their hand up and they waved and said, "Oh, hey officer, how's it going?" But for the Survey Corps, they actually did pull a gun, so they actually did have to shoot. So.
What's this gun? I'm defining the gun as stopping the rumbling. What's the gun to you? So both sides are trying to avoid the rumbling, and then
both sides it's protecting parity, for both the.
Well, obviously not. I mean, this is so true. Hanji was
The origin.
Hanji's paramount objective was to protect parity. This is clearly stated.
Yes, it was. What do you mean?
No, it wasn't. Oh my god.
It was. What do you mean?
How? Okay. So how?
So you're saying because she didn't agree with Eriwn, it means she didn't want to protect parity? Is it? What do you...
Well, we all obviously they all want to protect parity, but that wasn't her paramount objective. She was trying to avoid the rumbling. Why did she put Eriwn in jail? Then
her paramount. The rumbling was not a danger until really, really late.
How was putting Eriwn in jail protecting parity? That was the whole thing that sparked. That was the whole
because
thing.
She thought he went rogue. She thought he went rogue. He wasn't cooperating with them.
Cooperating with them with what? Because
he was not obeying their orders. He was not cooperating.
Yeah, then he just got back from a giant military victory, and then his reward is to be put in a jail cell for not quote unquote cooperating. So I'm asking, if the paramount
they see him as a rogue actor. If they believe his strategy is not effective, and he's a rogue actor, what you're asking me right now is why didn't Hanji agree with Erin's plan? That's what you're asking me.
No, I'm asking. No. I know what you didn't agree with this, but I'm saying if a paramount objective was to say parity, this wouldn't happen. But that's very curious that you mentioned it. So she imprisoned a rogue actor who objectively and demonstrably benefited parity.
No, no.
What do you mean? No. What do you mean? No.
From Hanji's perspective, Eriwn holds the key to their survival. Like he is the nuclear code. He is everything. Okay?
I'm aware.
So if he is a rogue actor, he's not cooperating with them. Parity is in danger. Me and you who are reading to the story might disagree, but from where at that point, Eriwn did not go and go talk to Hanji and say, "Hey, I'm going to nuke the whole planet. By the way, if you don't help me, we're all going to die." That's not what happened. They really didn't know for sure. They didn't really know with totality what Eriwn was trying to do or why he was trying to do it. They just knew he was with the knowledge that she had, he's a rogue actor.
Very okay.
We need to give the founding titan to somebody else.
Isn't that literally what the rogue government was doing? They had Eriwn. Eriwn was a rogue actor.
When they shot.
They tried to capture.
No. When they shot, what do you call it? When they shot Armin's parents, that's what they were doing.
No, when Eriwn. I'm saying when
they killed Eriwn Smith's dad, that's what they were doing.
No, with the whole thing with Nick that started this whole torture thing, the reason why this whole thing started is because they wanted Eriwn because he was a rogue actor, and they thought that he was the best for parity. So with the knowledge that they had, and they were absolutely correct, by the way, the knowledge that they had, they were trying to kidnap Eriwn so they could get it done on someone else. Literally the same exact thing that the government was trying to do.
If you wanna put the comparison to Rod Rice, I would say it's a much more accurate comparison, but. That's why I say in hindsight. I would say without hindsight, I would say they're almost equivalent without hindsight. But with hindsight, no, they're not, right? Because if Rod Rice, if Historia ate Eriwn in the cave, the time would have been ticking and then they would have eventually been wiped out, right? We know that as viewers of the story. So at that point in the story, you could say without the benefit of hindsight, right? You could say they're almost equivalent, and I would agree they probably are almost equivalent. But I'm just saying with the benefit of hindsight, no, they're not.
Okay. The benefit, okay. The benefit of hindsight, the rogue government and the Summer Corps, quote unquote, are not equivalent because of. Okay, can you explain that a little bit more?
Because I'm saying us as viewers, or at least I hope you would. I don't know if you would agree with this, but. Would you agree that if Historia ate Eriwn at the end of the Uprising Arc, if she ate Eriwn, how do you see Paradis' fate in the next 50 years?
Well, I'm not taking into consideration. I'm taking into consideration the true the final motivations of each portion, which would be the rumbling. So, I mean, I understand the Paradis. For honestly, the Jaegerists, I obviously support both coups because it's pursuant to my goals. but the problem is that the parody being saved requires the second coup. So that's when the Sword Corps loses their power. So I really struggle to form a comparison between the Sword Corps and the real government in regards to the rumbling, because the Sword Corps is not in power at that point. They get coup again. It's just a self coup. So I don't know why you're saying that they would be comparable with hindsight. That's kind of where the breakout is, I guess you could say.
Because I basically my argument is, if Rod Rice got his wish that day, parody would be completely wiped out. Whereas if the Survey Corps got their wish, and whoever branched out from the Survey Corps, be that the Jaegerists or whatever, got their wish, parody would have a much better chance of being protected.
Okay. So this is my point. So if the Survey Corps got their wish, and then the Jaegerists branched out of that. No,
but we're talking about the Survey Corps and Rod Rice. We're not talking about like the Jaegerists.
I know you're talking about the Jaegerists, which is why I'm saying that this analogy doesn't work, because you mentioned that the Jaegerists are necessary to save parody. So when you talk about
no, they're not necessary. They're not necessary. If they manage to overpower Eriwn and feed him to somebody else and do the 50-year plan, they probably
your 50-year plan, Chad? Okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
Have I never said that before? Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I think the most morally tenable position for all sides is the 50-year plan.
So just to be clear, you're of the belief that the 50-year plan would have avoided total destruction of parody?
I think if it's like anime logic, then no. But if they actually operate like the real world, yes, because in the real world, people are not suicidal, or at least not in that nature. Like, there's a reason the USA is not invading North Korea tomorrow. so I'm applying the same logic here, because here's the thing: if the story wants to like use anime logic, then I can't argue against that, right?
No,
but I'm using the logic. Yeah, I'm using the logic that the anime operates by real world logic. And in real world logic, nobody's gonna attack a nuclear power if they don't also have nukes.
Yeah, of course.
So the 50-year plan should work. Like you say that, there's the risk
I agree.
There's a risk of the founder going rogue, blah blah blah. But again, like that's just a risk you have to take if you don't want to kill 2 billion people.
This is not a rumbling conversation. That's fine.
Okay.
I just want to ascertain your position on it so we can properly lay out the parameters for this. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, so if I understand this correctly, hopefully this didn't get lost in our debating, but if I understand this correctly, you're saying the Survey Corps' coup and the Survey Corps' actions, though they may have been morally dubious, were more justified than the royal government, because of the Survey Corps and their coup and their plans would have saved parody, and the royal government would have not saved parody. Is that good?
Yes.
Okay, cool, great. Okay, great, excellent. I'm glad we got the discussion. Good. Cool. Okay, so I do have honestly other topics. I'm gonna think this is a good place to end it. We are gonna revisit this though, because I do have another very interesting question. So.
Okay, sounds good.
Yes, sounds.
Binger, I'm tagging you in. I talk too much.
What were we talking about?
Binger.
We're moving on to the next topic now.
Yeah, what is it?
Oh wait, actually, I think Mirror, you said you wanted to get answers to.
Yeah, Mirror, he wants to talk, man. He wants to talk.
Yeah, cook.
Yeah. So, what was the exact words you said in the first question about the theme?
Yeah. So it looks as if one could say, if you read Attack on Titan, it almost as if after Clash of the Titans, it would appear as though Uprising is just an unnecessary obstacle that gets in the way of potentially God's to that artificially elongates the plot. So my question is, from your perspective, what is the point of Uprising Arc?
Honestly, I gotta say, it's the beginning of like the characters. They not only gotta question what they're fighting for, but they gotta realize the effects of it. Like, Historia, for example, she thought that she was doing once she got back with her father, and partially the reason why she was helping him is because of the whole attachment, uh, because she got to meet him again for the second time in her life. Um, Basically, she she was trying to take out Eriwn and also get the founding Titan in order to wipe out all the Titans in parody. But the thing is, though, is that what she didn't realize is, okay, how come if you guys had this Titan before Grisha killed him, how come you guys didn't actually just wipe them out from the jump? Why are we even in this position in the first place? You know, there's no reason for this to even be a conversation. And then she points that out to her father, and then she's like, "Oh, nah, I'm sick of this bull crap." Cause he even went on to talk about how the second you get the founding Titan, you see something that doesn't make you want to do what you got to do. So, at that point, not only did Historia realize that she was just only really doing this because of her personal feelings and she was lying to herself, but she figured out, what she was truly about to fight for from here on out. Or like, even with Kenny, like he really just points out what was the point of the arc. It's just people trying to figure out what they truly need to do in order to get things done. Like Armin never even expected that they'd even have to encounter other humans, and that carried on to season 4, because season 4 was being completely ran by humans, not even Titans. They were just using Titans similar to how they use guns at that point. Like even Eriwn, once Historia gave him that talk no jutsu or whatever, he regained his will to fight, because he thought that he needed to die because of what Grisha did in order to fix everything, Let's see. I know that, what was the other character who did this? Oh yeah, same thing with the church. It was Priest Nick. If you remember, Hanji basically had to show him what was going on, because they were hiding secrets.
I do.
And they weren't doing anything to help people. They had an agenda going on. So the second she was showing Priest Nick what was going on with all these people being having to go into the inner walls and stuff, you got people moving from Wall Rose and Sheena and all that stuff, whatever. And then you see that people have been losing their homes. They might even lose their families. Then they got to deal with, the people that they're moving in with. Like, Priest Nick really started to question what he was fighting for with that whole royal government arc stuff. And, he got assassinated in the end.
Pasta Nick is an underrated character. I like Pasta Nick.
He is.
Yeah, like you basically get to see like a lot of characters change how they go about their purpose or whatever in that arc.
Just seeing it's a paradigm shift, really, at its core.
Yeah. And
Mm.
like I said, like that's gonna be very useful once you get to season 4, and they showed exactly how that will was gonna work
Was
in season 3 part
absolutely.
2 with the whole fight with Bertolt, Reiner, and Zeke.
Remember, Arnold was sitting at the table and he was saying, "Oh, we're no longer killing human. We're no longer killing titans. We're killing human beings, so they have different ideas than us. I wonder if there'll be a time where this is going to happen. We're going to have to kill people because they have different beliefs than us." And obviously, looking back from War for Perry, such a chilling and incredible line. I mean, Isayama really thought everything through from the beginning. He could turn. Okay, so I actually do agree with a lot of your sentiment there, Mira. I've always, after doing my reread, I came to the conclusion that this is Uprising is really where AOT began. And what I mean by that is I constantly say that I say that Armin is AOT, and I say the themes are AOT. And so I say when I say something is AOT, I mean the essence of it is its themes. And so I think a lot of the themes were obviously there very early since chapter 1. I think that Uprising is when we start to see these being shown explicitly. We start to see the consequences of certain characters' ideologies and thoughts.
Yeah, I agree too.
That's why
So,
immersion breaking is very useful in all of season 3.
immersion breaking, what do you mean by that?
Um, you know what immersion? You don't know what immersion breaking means?
I don't know what immersion breaking is, and I don't know what it means in regards to AOT.
Basically, it's like, imagine if you saw that your window was getting broken, like, um, and basically there's all that, everything indicates that your neighbor was the one who threw the rock at your window, but you know as the story progresses on, then more hints or whatever, you then find out that it was actually your wife who threw your ex-wife throwing a rock at your window attempting to kill you. So it's like that in AOT, like they basically keep breaking down a wall to show you like new information, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
I have before, because I have another very spicy topic, which is not so much what me and Kid argued about. Before we get into that, I have a I have a very very schizophrenic sort of question. So reading Uprising, I noticed this line that Kenny repeats, and since the line was repeated twice, I thought Isayama must be trying to cook up something with this. And I remember being Kinder having a conversation earlier in the year, and you mentioned like we figured to this that every line in AOT has meaning. Like you could literally flip to just a random page in a random chapter, point your finger to the book, and the line that you would happen upon would be drenched in meaning and significance, and may have been, as Mara said, recontextualized or immersion broken. So to have a line that Kenny, a very important character, says twice, I think I have precedent to believe that this is very purposeful. So this is one of the main reasons why I brought you on, Benja, because I know you're schizophrenic about Uprising and AOT, and especially Kenny as I am. So let me see, and of course everyone's more than happy for everyone else to jump in as well. But do you think there's any significance to Kenny saying this line twice? So the line I'm talking about is he comes and he sees Historia. Chronologically speaking, it's first. He sees Historia when they're doing the whole the Daimyo Reeves ruse to try to trick the royal government, and he says, "Oh, you've grown so much. Actually, no, you haven't grown that much. And then later on, he sees Levi, and he says the same. He says, "Oh, you look how much you've grown. Actually, you haven't grown much up much at all." What do you think that's supposed to mean? Do you think there's any significance to that?
Repeat the lines again. Kind of, your voice came across a bit fuzzy.
Let me.
No, I know what he said to Levi. What did he say to Historia?
He said the same thing. He said like, "Oh, you've grown a lot." Oh, actually, no, you haven't grown a lot. You like stayed the same. I should probably actually get the actual like literal line. So just stand by.
That's an interesting line to repeat.
It is.
Show me the
right.
Show me the book first, and then I'll see what I can.
Yeah. Let me
gain from
get
that.
The actual. Let me get the actual. Of course, I think that's.
Is your direct reference? Actually, I could get my own book. It's right above my head, but I'm too lazy.
Let me see.
Wait, what moment are you guys talking about?
Well, we're talking about when Kenny sees his story. He says, "You've grown
Here it
a lot."
is.
Yeah.
Oh, I was already looking at that chapter. Hold on.
It's been 5 years, Krista. Look how much you've grown. No, you haven't changed much. Very curious. And then when he fights Levi, 2 chapters later, he says, "Hey, Levi, look how much you've grown." Fuck, I just lost the chapter. Oh, he says...
Language.
yeah. Hey, Levi, look how much you've grown. You haven't changed much, have you? So...
I haven't grown much at all, boy.
Yeah, I remember, like, oh, this is a very curious line to repeat, and it has to be intentional, and I don't know. Maybe it's something to do with 123. I don't know. I really don't know. So this could be sort of our cool down topic, so to speak, before we get into another vicious debate.
I just want to talk about.
For me and Kinder, it was actually pretty tame.
I was on the verge of unconsciousness during that entire thing.
Yeah, it's like 3 a.m. in the United Kingdom.
Yeah. Actually, it's 4 a.m. right now, but I'll stay for the Kenny thing. Right. Let me have a deep intellectual. Let Mira talk. Let's see what Mira thinks about this.
How much you've grown?
How much you grown, boy?
In regards to Historia or Levi?
Both. Why is he repeats line? What is Yams cooking?
Maybe there's some connection to demise from like between Levi and Historia.
Well, if you want to overanalyze,
that's exactly what I want to do.
Then we know that Levi had that whole no regrets character arc for Eriwn.
Oh no, that's actually true. Wait. Mira, you're cooking. They both have this arc of sort of living a life that they can be proud of. Bro, Mira.
Yeah.
You got it.
Did you steal his thunder?
Well, yeah, that's I guess that's what I was gonna say, and you know, Historia already had that stuff with Ymir.
I know, articulate your point clearly. Remember, there's an audience, so I don't want to just like references. Let's explain that. Let's about the thought fully.
Like for for Historia, we know that she was not only lying to herself, and she wasn't living a life she was satisfied about. Like, she was taking on an entirely different personality, and she was forced into that position too. Like, cause you know, she changed her name, and you know, she already had her whole attachment issue, whatever, like with her mother, neglection or whatever. But you know, after meeting Ymir basically went over on how Historia, she never once tried to like
take control.
Yeah, like she never really wanted to take dominance over her life. Like, not only was she being pushed around, but she was pushing around herself. And there was even a point where she was like, "Yo, let me let me trick myself into being a girl who tried to save a guy. Um, what was it? Yeah, save Daz and die doing it. Uh, and guess what? You know, Emir caught her lacking. She said, "You know, it's I just find it funny how you haven't asked me to help you at all." And then Historia had that Dragon Ball Guck face or whatever. Um, but um, essentially, once you like leave the flashback, like the near end of it, um, Ymir, she calls back on this scene during the Uprising arc, when her father was trying to make her, yeah, take the shot and turn into a Titan. She was like, I don't want you to go back to being that Christ or whatever. I want you to take your name back and live as your true self. Live a life you can be proud of. And then that was the moment where she like actually changed. For
Or is this the connection with Levi?
Yeah, she took her name back right after Emir. What was it? That was right after season 2. Once Emir left with Reiner and Bertolt. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but she and Levi. Let's see. Levi had his arc during the OVA, and what was it? The manga version of that. But if you remember, Levi had a huge regret over his actions, because mind you, this was foreshadowed once Eriwn popped up, but Levi, he made quote unquote bad decisions that led his teammates into being killed. That was the people that he grew up with in the underground. And once he was like about to kill Eriwn, uh Eriwn was like, don't regret the decisions that you made that that led you into this position or led your friends into this position. You never know how the outcome of your decisions are going to be. No one ever knows that. uh and then Levi just had to accept the situation. And once you go to the end of the episode, you can see Levi saying, "I can see something in Eriwn that makes me stay attached to him. Like I want to go out and join the scouts and see what's all about the whole freedom thing or whatever." And
Yo, that's a good point. That actually helped me realize a few things.
Based.
So actually, the parallel of Levi and Historia. This actually alludes to Kenny's character arc as well. So the thing with having no regrets or like taking control of your own life, basically, where Historia had to sort of take control of her own life, her own destiny, her own decisions, even if it ends up damning humanity to being destroyed. She's still proud of the decision that she's made, and Levi sort of not having any regrets over the past, like the people that he thinks he's failed. That sort of Kenny specifically talking about Historia and Levi actually ties into his character, where basically Kenny has a similar issue. Kenny had a similar issue to Historia, where he chased after something. He was a slave to power, basically, and you could say Historia was a slave. You could say Historia was a slave to complacency, or sort of following what others tell her to be, right? Historia only followed what others made her, right, into. Like, Krista was a role. It was an act, right? And she was complacent. Like, she just accepted that that was her life. And Kenny accepted that his life was in the underground. He was just like a rat in the street. The only thing that was really important in his life was power, dominating over. Yeah, so Kenny, his
When
entire
he
thing was
says-
that.
Keep cooking, yeah.
Yeah. When Kenny's entire thing was that, he was born within the underground, right? He had nothing, right? So he eventually learned the rule of the survival of the fittest, right? That only the most powerful can win. That's why he wanted the founding titan from Rod. The founding titan is the most powerful being. It's the most powerful thing around, and that's why he followed Uri as well, because he was the most powerful person. Kenny wanted power. That was his entire thing. He was the slave to power, but he never really he only wanted power because it was what made him what kept him going, what gave his life a purpose. But he didn't really find any purpose for himself, right? Power was just something that he chased after because it kept him alive. Power is what helped him survive. That's what kept him alive. He didn't really I don't really think Kenny really wanted power just because of just for the sake of power. It's because he wanted to keep going, to keep having a purpose, to be alive. Levi is Kenny's true purpose in a sense, because in the end he develops and he changes and he gives Levi the serum, because he realizes that that's what he truly values. He wants Levi to live a life with no regrets. He wants Levi to make his own decisions, and he gives Levi the decision to bring someone back if they die, right? So that's Levi goes back to Kenny's words. He says, Levi thinks back to Kenny. He's basically Kenny lived a life just chasing after something that didn't really make him happy, and then he gave me the choice to do something on my own. Not because anyone forced me to. Nobody forced me to make this decision, but I can do it on my own with not being pushed, right? But Kenny was pushed into being complacent, being following the most powerful person around. Historia was following the most what everyone else told her, and in the end, Levi makes his own decision, just like Historia makes her own decision. He makes his own decision in Return to Shiganshina, and Kenny's character arc ties into both Historia and Levi in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, if you noticed, all of those characters, the ones with those type of character arcs.
Also, Owen. All right, let me finish. Before you can talk, Mara. Owen also, you know how Owen basically made Levi have no regrets, basically.
Mm-hmm.
This actually ties to Owen as well, because Owen, he's kind of a hypocrite in a sense, honestly, because Owen says, all right, nobody will know, nobody can know how the battle will end up, you're not to blame for getting for someone else dying because of you. But Owen literally blames himself for his father dying, didn't he? And
yeah, this man was talking.
He wanted to find out why his father died.
No, he knew his father died. I don't think this is the same because Eriwn is doing this as a matter of fact. I caused my father to get killed. He doesn't seem very
Well, the thing is about that is he blamed himself, but he dealt with it by believing that he had a responsibility to take care of.
I don't think so. Well, yeah. The other thing is that the very, very big difference is that his father didn't die in a battle. His father did die as a direct result of his actions. So it's kind of different where you're trying to calculate, what's going to happen if you make a certain decision. The decision was already made before any calculation. He's just looking back at the state of events and being like, oh, this is what happened with my father. So it's kind of different.
Right, but anyway, with Owen, later on, Owen, he wants the basement because he wants to discover the truth. And he was urged into wanting to find the truth because he wants to find what the government was hiding, why his father died. What reason did the government have to kill him, right? And what was being hidden from everyone. He wanted to find the truth, but he was burdened by his father's death, right? Mm-hmm. That's sort of everyone in the cast in Uprising specifically, and in the story overall, is burdened by something. Kenny was burdened by his desire to have power. Historia was burdened by a sort of complacency. Levi was burdened by all the comrades that he carries with him every time he goes into battle. Erwin was burdened by his father's death, and that's the entire reason he does everything he does. Is because of his father's death. And in the end, Erwin makes his own decision. With the help of Levi, Erwin is the one who gave Levi this no regrets mindset, and then Levi at the end helps him sort of follow his own advice and sort of make his own decision to go into battle and be the true commander. Sort of take command finally, not be selfish, and that's the connection there.
So when you said, okay, so maybe I interpreted the line wrong. When he says, "Look how much you've grown," he's talking, their soul. But he says you haven't changed much. He's talking, he means physically.
No, I don't think Kenny actually saying that doesn't really mean anything. I just think it's like a little parallel. It's a little you're supposed to draw a connection between Levi and Astoria and Kenny, and that little triangle there of characters. That's all connected. But the actual line, I don't think it actually means anything.
I see. Okay, so you're saying it's meant to signal a connection between the three of them.
It's supposed to signal a connection, but it doesn't actually mean anything really. It's just a little funny little line for him to say. It's a Kenny thing to say, It's a nice line. I like the way he says it in the dub. Where he's like, "Looks like we haven't changed much enough, boy."
Disgusting.
What is it?
You should actually shoot yourself.
What?
You know how I feel. You know how I feel about dubs.
Oh no! I thought you were talking about my point and not my the dub thing.
No, your point was great. Okay, excellent. Wow. Okay, I'm glad I brought it up. I knew this was gonna be an answer. Okay, very good. Thank you guys.
No. Beluga. Listen. I hate the dub. I don't like the AOT dub. But I like the line delivery. I like the specific delivery on Kenny's line.
Oh yeah. Listen,
the way the VA said it.
Besides being a former Eriwn Hisu, another one of my dirty little secrets is that I actually watch. When I watch the scenes, I do a majority in when it's season 2. I do a majority in the dub because I saw the dub season 2. The season 2 dub is the first AOT experience I ever had, so I watched it in the dub because it's nostalgic. However, the difference between me and the people who are dub watchers is I actually know what they're saying, so it's appropriate for me to watch in the dub so I actually know what they're saying. Whereas when other people watch stuff in the dub, it's not appropriate for them to watch it because they don't know what the characters are saying.
I mean, to be fair, there's a few anime dubs out there where watching the dub first is actually the better option, but that AOT is not one of them.
Sure. Okay, next question before we get to another debate.
Well, before we even go to the next question, to sum it up, I would say that all these characters, a commonality between them, Eriwn, the Warriors, Historia, Levi, or whatever, all of these characters were going through an internal self-destruction, and once they complete that arc, you can notice that whole I see that you've grown up or whatever actually fits in there, because they were leading themselves to their own demise.
Oh yeah, Red Swan actually. I noticed an interesting thing about the visuals in Red Swan. Because how I did mention the thing about the military, the first 3 openings were nationalistic military anthems. And then Red Swan was just a emotional, soft sort of ballad. Right, now Red Swan, it focuses on the individual characters. Now, in my opinion, Uprising has 4 characters that it focuses on and are the main focus. Now, Eriwn, he is obviously the main character. He's the main focus of the entire story. Now, Eriwn has a very interesting mini arc in Uprising I would like to talk about in the Eriwn video and maybe here as well. But Eriwn, he doesn't have a lot of screen time in Uprising. I think in Uprising in general focuses on 4 characters. That's Kenny, Historia, Levi, Erwin. Those are the 4 major players in Uprising, and Eriwn, he is the main character. He has the final sort of role there, but he's not we only get answers about his past and sort of the founding time and all that. But the 4 major players of Uprising are Kenny, Historia, Levi, and Erwin. Now these 4 characters, they're actually focused on a lot in the opening Red Swan. Eriwn is also there. I think you could make it out that Erin's also a part of that sort of group. Uprising in the Red Swan, it shows Owen with his dad. It shows Owen sort of looking into the window, seeing his dad and him talking. It sort of shows Owen's burden, how he carries a weight on his shoulder. It shows Levi with a knife, drawing a knife, and he sees Kenny there.
Yep.
And then it shows Historia with the fence, sort of like really blank expression. And then it shows the Warriors. Now the Warriors, they're interesting. It shows them on like a mission. Like they're like in the woods. They got like a lantern. They're moving forward towards their goal, right? It shows that all of these characters are burdened by something within the opening, and they all have their own little issues. And then Eriwn is shown looking at the horizon. Now this represents his entire character. He's always gazing. He's always looking in front of him, right? And then
I know more than anyone, trust me.
He's always looking in front of him, right? And he just ignores that his own child self is like is just playing next to him. Now notice how Armin is framed in this opening. In the opening, Armin is looking behind him, right? Eriwn is staring out into the distance. And in the opening, when they show Armin, he's like turning around, looking at Mikasa, right?
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
And then Mikasa, even though Mikasa is following Eriwn when they're running, her shoe falls off. Her shoe falls off. No, her shoe falls off. Mikasa's shoe falls off behind her. It shows that she's eventually she's gonna realize the similar lesson. She's gonna go behind.
The shoe behind her represents the rumbling. It represents the rumbling just stepping on people.
No, don't you know? It represents Mikasa's gonna die. It's the symbolism. Look at under the tree cover too.
Yes, ironically.
That shoe proves that John and Mikasa were the same person.
And Red Swan is just the visuals in Red Swan are very interesting to analyze.
No, injured. No, that was some of the hardest cooking I've seen from you in a while. That is absolutely spectacular. You can literally listen to Red Swan much, and it's probably the OP that I've seen the least. The episode's done. I'm gonna go revisit that because that is incredible. Incredible. And thank you for sharing. Honestly, very much appreciated.
Oh, it also shows Levi like crossing paths with Owen, and Levi and Owen are like looking in different directions, or it shows that they're going in different directions as people, sort of.
But of course. Okay, so the next question I have is relatively trivial, and then we'll get into our final topic of discussion. I think it should be good. So, I'm going to just read a couple passages from AOT. So, first one is from chapter 31. And don't worry, we're going to talk about Uprising. So, it's after the context. So, the kind of deja vu, the Storycorn gets summoned to the capital again, which is something we'll let you be talking about because they're squandering tax dollars. And then on the way to the capital, they try to intercept Annie so they can try to capture her. They can get the PR win so they can continue to operate.
You mean in season 1?
Yes, in season 1. So, and they cut to the military police. The military police, Marlowe catches from the military policemen selling the gear for personal profit. So they're selling government property for personal gain. He stops them. Annie, they beat up him. They beat Marlowe up, the military police, and then Annie steps in. She says this to Marlowe. She says, "I think you're an upright person. What you say is right. I know people like you exist." And then it flashes back to a scene with her and Eriwn. She says, "Going against the flow takes a lot of courage. I respect that. Maybe people who can do it are just stupid, but, well, I'm sure of it. Just that people like you are rare. So you can't call them common. You can't call them normal evil. You can't call them normal either. People like you get to be called special." And then we go to...
He's not special because these...
That's
the collar thing. I know what you're talking about.
And then we turn to... This is why it's in the Uprising podcast, because then we turn to chapter 59. again, context for this: Marlowe and Hitch are in the woods. They're searching for the fugitives and the criminals in Silver Corps because they're in direct rebellion to the king. And then the Silver Corps comes and captures them. So they do this ruse where they pretend they're going to hurt them so they can test their loyalty, pass the test, and then, very interestingly, this line gets dropped very subtly. Marlowe asks John, "Why'd you go so far?" referring to the ruse. And then John says, "Because you remind me of a kid I hate, a stubborn dumbass." So, actually, and then it goes further. Marlowe says, "Could it be the same person that Amy talked about?" Nice. So, next question I have is... Huh?
There is a... I'm talking about the connection between Marlowe and Eriwn.
Yeah, which, to me, I have a couple thoughts. So, number one, this seems extremely inappropriate to compare Marlowe to Eriwn, because, especially when we have Annie calling him special and great. And then, actually, even worse is that she actually contrasts. She says, so what do you get to call people like us then? People who put their own interests ahead of others. People who go along with it and see injustice. What do you call them? Worthless or evil. From what I saw from training corps, mostly they are worthless, evil people who want to be the military police. And then she said, "Yeah, if you think we're worthless and we're definitely evil, we can call them upright, but doesn't make us just normal, regular people." So, it's essentially calling the story, calling Eriwn, saying, "Okay, Annie and the military police, they're worthless, evil people, but Eriwn, he's a special person." And then Marlowe is another special person who is shown as human righteous because he's stopping corruption in the military. And then now we have him being contrasted to Eriwn again. And so that on its face seems quite inappropriate. But the other part of me thinks I have always compared Marlowe and Eriwn in the sense that they both, as you, Binter, so amazingly put, were always looking off into the horizon. Or not appreciate what they had in a moment. So, Eriwn with Mikasa.
The Mikasa and Hitch thing. When they're having like dinner, Eriwn didn't like realize that they were like alluding to Marlowe, like
exactly.
Feelings.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, he was the only one who didn't get it.
Yeah. So yes, just to explain for the audience my thesis on this. So Eriwn had these feelings for Mikasa. He always had these feelings for Mikasa, but he never indulged in or reciprocated Mikasa's love for him because he was focused on his other goals. And then he didn't notice his feelings for her until it was too late. He was about to die. Marlowe, same thing, where he was wrapped up in his goals and wanted to, reform the military, reform the military police.
It goes into my.
Right as he was about to die, then he thought of Hitch. So that's where I see a connection, but I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Why do you think that the story's drawing these parallels between Marlowe?
I mean, there's a lot of characters that have this sort of storyline where Keith didn't realize they could have been with Carla until it was too late. Erwin, he couldn't be with Marie.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I forgot a few other I forgot who else had this, but there's plenty of characters with this thing going on.
Oh yes, for sure.
It is quite an important sort of overlooked sort of part of the story. I think the Marlowe and Eriwn thing. I think it's not like they're the same person. It's not like saying that they're the exact same. It's just that they have the similar thing of just looking into the horizon, not paying attention to what they're going against the status quo basically, because everyone in the story looks out for themselves mainly, right? A lot of selfish people in the story of AOT, and like Marlowe and Eriwn at the beginning, they're sort of seen portrayed in a positive light, that they're going against the sort of what everyone else does, that they're complacent, they're just following what others tell them. This ties into a story as well, but I don't even know where to get into that. But anyway, at the beginning they're sort of in a positive light, that they're sort of at the beginning of the story, the first few seasons, Erin's conviction came across as a very positive thing to a lot of people, his passion towards
yes,
the Titan. Yeah, it's a positive thing to the audience. It comes across as that way. But then when you look back on it after season 4, Then you see the recontextualization.
This is why you're
Now,
the
see,
goat.
that's-
This is why you're the goat.
It sort of sets up how later on that idea will be subverted. Like you at the beginning, you're like, oh man, Aaron's special. He's unique. He's different. But then the Kala thing comes in. She's like, he doesn't have to be special. He's special just because he was born, right? And that's setting up the ending, right? Where Armin and every human being is special because they were born and they could experience the beauty of life in the moment. And it doesn't matter that you need to go and be something great. You don't need to be a hero who killed all the time. You don't need to fix the system. You just need to stay where you are, and you just need to look at what's in front of you and appreciate that life has given you this opportunity to find happiness.
So basic. This is what I mean you get along so well. What an excellent dissertation from our excellent. Very, very, very pleased to hear that. And it's so satisfying when I hear people. I mean, I spend a lot of time on Twitter, to my shame, and it's very satisfying to see people who actually understand the story. So good on you, Binger. Each gentleman, what are your thoughts on this? Do you agree with me and Binger on this, or do you have another view on this matter?
You can go ahead, Mir.
Oh, okay. So, honestly, I would say that in the case of Marlowe, he, just like Eriwn, they have a conviction that they want to do. You know, they have a goal that makes others see them as like crazy people, or they're just not going to be able to do it. You know, people who actually want to change stuff. But the difference that was portrayed between Eriwn and Marlowe is that Eriwn is able to act on his conviction, whereas Marlowe can't. Because I'm pretty sure Annie did touch on this when Marlowe wasn't gonna go kill them when he was about to pick up the shotgun. She did say that he's like her in the sense that they're not capable of going against the flow or whatever. I'm just going off of memory at the top of my head, though. Like, correct me if I'm wrong.
I have a chapter in front of me, so if you need if you know what line you're talking about.
Like, I'm talking about the episode, because they changed the scene.
Oh, it changed it. Oh man. Oh.
Okay. In the anime they changed the scene.
It's really too bad. Really?
To Marlowe was over here dealing with what was it, like 2 corrupt military officers,
and
they
were selling the equipment.
Yeah, and then after they beat him up, you know, he noticed the shotgun on the floor and he was about to go kill them, but you know, he didn't have the ability to do it, you know.
Man, Annie was such a badass.
And you know, Annie did say that if you got the conviction, then I'll help you. She did say that, though.
Annie was her.
But I would say that that's the major difference between Marlowe and Eriwn.
You said something about Marlowe being powerless to do anything while Eriwn did. But at the beginning, didn't Eriwn like feel powerless, that he couldn't like do anything to change like everyone was being in fear of the Titans, everyone was just trapped inside the walls. They were all cattle. Eriwn wanted to go out and make a difference. He wanted to kill all the Titans. He wanted to make it so nobody would have to go through what he did. I mean, he had other reasons as well, but like that's a strong part of his character, that he felt powerless, he felt trapped, he felt like he couldn't do anything, and then he went out and he actually did. He developed his conviction, but then he showed the dangers of that sort of obsession, that mindset, that you need to keep going, you need to keep fighting, and just completely ignore everything. And Marlowe sort of didn't has a different sort of arc where he just doesn't have the ability to become like Eriwn, even though at the beginning he has at his core he's similar to Eriwn. He doesn't have the exact same sort of, and he isn't enabled, right? But then in RTS he goes into the Survey Corps, and he has the same sort of power as Eriwn, not power, but the same
what's interesting?
ability. What?
So, I'm glad that you mentioned Marlowe going to the Super Corps. So, the thing another thing that was, I saw sort of a similarity between the two is they're both in the wrong divisions of the military. And what I mean by that is Eriwn isn't really, we talk about the spirit of the Survey Corps. Eriwn isn't really a true Survey Corpsman, right? He doesn't spirit of the Survey Corps. He's very self-interested.
Evan represents.
And so it's more appropriate for him to be he has more of the attitude and spirit of the military police. Whereas Marlowe has more of the attitude and spirit of the Survey Corps, but he's in the military police. So that's interesting. I think he eventually switches over when it comes to the Survey Corps. What were you saying?
Well, I was saying Eriwn. It wasn't really related to anything you said. I just want to point out that Eriwn he believed in the false idea of the Survey Corps, just sort of the ideal of freedom, always going out into the world, just keep moving forward, that sort of mindset of the Survey Corps, see the outside world. It didn't represent the true sort of Armin message.
Of course, yeah. Very, very, very interesting. Speaking of that, and I know you're going to love this, there's sort of many, I don't know if conflicts right word, but the disagreements, I guess you could say, between Eriwn and Levi are sort of mirrored. Alright, so yeah, just cook on Rod. I have, that's my topic, but yeah, go ahead.
Rod? Alright, let me, I'm awake now, I'm moving forward. We begin to oppose. Alright, let's go, Rodri ties into the theme of, pursuing greater power, pursuing greater ambition, looking into the horizon, all that stuff. So he ties into the thing, Historia and Rod have this sort of opposite sort of arc, where Historia, in her sort of complacency, sort of finds herself, her own ambition, her own goal. Rod, he just follows the goal, just like that he's always known, right? He looks to a higher power, the power of God, basically, right? Now,
Yahweh.
What?
Nothing. I just said he should have consulted Yahweh, but
yeah. So Rod, he was always like looking into the bigger power, the bigger picture, right? Similar to Kenny, he just like wanted to like his own sort of. The details are a bit hazy, but didn't he want like Historia to save humanity, right? Yeah, he wanted God to come and fix all their problems, right? But he couldn't really fix his own problems like with his own like sort of decisions. He just followed this false sort of belief. Well, not false belief, but like he had a belief that he just kept going. Like, he kept indulging in without actually making any decisions for himself. He just followed a path, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he never made his own decision. So that ties into Historia's arc, where Historia rejects this sort of complacency, this sort of slavish devotion to, like, something else. Because Rod's entire life was controlled by his belief in God, his belief in the founding time, the belief in saving humanity, this goal to save humanity. And Historia rejects that and says, I don't care, I don't want to save humanity, I just want to make the decision that I believe in and that I will be satisfied with. And Rod just didn't even have his own sort of personality. He didn't have his own goal. He was just like, for his entire life, he was just along for the ride. He was just along for what his father wanted, what his brother wanted, what everyone in his life said to do. And Historia finds her own path by rejecting complacency, rejecting as I said, the slavish devotion. And that's pretty much all I can really say right now, because my Rod video covers all that.
Yeah, so very curiously, Rod, as you mentioned, wants to save humanity, and he wants to start save humanity as well. But she rejects her choice, and she chooses selfish option, and she chooses to save her friend instead. And this leads, eventually, this culminates into where she destroys humanity and facilitates Eriwn's genocide as well in the final arc, which is, I guess, directly opposed to what her father wanted her to do.
Yeah. It's a deliberate choice to make Astoria not a good person, but like Astoria is a very bad person.
She is. And she's getting it the worst now. You know, I quit with Kinda about me because I didn't have like Astoria's definitely getting it the worst. for sure.
The worst girl in the world, as she says.
That's why she's gonna shoulder his sins together with him.
Please close your mouth. Oh, taking a blatant Mingus line and say, "Oh, this is actually about his story."
No, that's the first one. There's two of them. Different words.
Word. You are listen.
Different pronouns.
$20. Okay.
$20?
He owes me
mean
$20.
pounds.
You listen. We're about to celebrate. I'm about to celebrate July 4th in a few weeks. You can say pounds once you win our war against us. Okay. Does anyone else have any thoughts on Rod?
Rod Reese, the GOAT.
Rod.
A-tier character. Such a good antagonist.
A-tier character. That's wow.
A-tier. He's like a B maybe.
Rod Reese, A-tier. I don't care. A-tier. I really like
that for my pyramid. How's that working with my pyramid?
B minus on a good day. B minus on a good day. I'm sorry.
Oi. Get that. Listen.
You pick the weirdest characters to stand. It's so weird.
So true.
No.
So true.
Touch up. Give me an example.
Rod Rice.
Rod Reese.
Bertold.
Berthold's the GOAT. Wait. Shut your mouth. Get that. Berthold is an incredible character.
This is what I mean, bro. He's like the least relevant of all the quote-unquote main characters.
Shoot, I mean, like one of my friends that I finished getting them into AOT like way months back. They think that Bertolt is their favorite character, and the reason is because they and I'll tell you the reason why they said that. The reason they said that is because he said more than everybody else, Bertolt was the one who didn't want to be there in any situation.
What?
Tell them to watch my video. Tell them
to watch AOT. Since talking about Bertolt, I always saw Bertolt as the ideal warrior. Because Andy,
he was a slave. He just followed. He was complacent. He was like everyone else.
He wasn't complacent. He was just the best at his job. Annie had a lot of empathy, and she paid dearly for that.
Sorry, I just had the reg go on. Sorry.
This man Bertolt was being a complete shell.
Yeah, he cooked. And then we got Reiner, who developed this multi-personality nonsense and felt sorry for himself the whole time. So he also lost. But Bertolt never had the flaws that Annie and Reiner has. He was able to perfectly complete his duty. It's really a shame that he was the only one who ended up dying. Very sad about that.
Yeah, I genuinely wish we got Reiner's reaction to Bertolt dying. I wish we had that. I wish that was a scene.
I mean, well, you know, in the Attack on Titan 2, the final battle, there's actually like a character episode where Reiner is leaving parody with Zeke, and he talks about Bertolt with him.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Attack on Titan 2, the final battle.
Oh, the game!
Oh!
I'm talking about like the additional episodes, because they said like the additional episodes might be canon.
Are they canon?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Like there was this one episode that actually showed what happened to Annie after she, you remember the scene where the female Titan was crying and they was leaving and stuff? They showed how she got back to Stohe's district.
I gotta play this game immediately. What console do I
haven't played it yet.
I play it on the PS5.
I'm gonna buy this immediately.
I mean, it's online, hop on.
I actually
Really?
I have it downloaded through totally legal means, but I just haven't played it yet.
Just all hop on the PS5 and we'll play it.
Yeah.
And I don't have a PS5. I'm an Xbox though, but
So am I. I don't like PS5 either.
No,
Yeah,
good sign.
I'm an Xbox child myself.
Playing so much.
anyway, what are we talking about? We were talking about the AOT arc, right? What was it called? Uprising. Yeah.
Okay, yes. So the last, I lied. This was actually not the last guy. The last topic before we get into the last topic. That's a really weird way to put it, but this penultimate topic. Without hindsight, we're not taking hindsight into consideration. Without hindsight, what was it? Was the Server Core's existence morally permissible? And the reason why this is in the Uprising podcast is because, and I think this was cut out of the anime, or at least a significant portion was they, and as we told us earlier with season 1, that the government and populace was constantly at odds with the Server Core because they were using their tax dollars for something that was essentially not even, first off, what their Server Core was doing wasn't even functional. It served no functional purpose until Walmaria fell. And then, in addition to that, they were making absolutely no progress, and it was completely hopeless. And it would have been hopeless until Eriwn showed up, which is unfamiliar with Encounter, obviously. And there's a very interesting scene in Uprising that sort of dives into this, which I found to be quite intriguing. I'm just going to try to get it. So, here it is. Where is this chapter?
What are you looking for?
I am looking at the chapter where Levi first runs into, maybe it's in volume 13 actually. Levi and co run into the people in Trost. It's not in volume 13. I should have prepared this earlier, shouldn't I?
You're talking about like when Eriwn sees the wings of freedom.
My mistake. Oh, it's not sure yet. No, when no. When it's after Eriwn steals the hole, they go into Trost, and they run into the impoverished populace. Where the actual impoverished populace? Because I think this misconception needs to get cleared up that the island of Parody was not. They were not impoverished. They were not poor. That's something a lot of people think that the island, the people on the island, were suffering or poor, or hungry, or.
Yeah, they were perfectly comfortable for like a good 100 years.
Perfectly fine. They were perfectly fine.
I mean, a few of them weren't, but like most of them were.
Yeah.
Like the underground wasn't that good, but.
Yeah, it was the underground, which was the problem. But besides that, people were perfectly fine, and a lot of that gets. Man, where is this chapter?
Okay, so you said this
like...
is the scene after he lifts the boulder?
No, this isn't Uprising.
I really want to talk about Eriwn, like in Uprising.
Oh yeah, good. Go, by all means, go ahead.
No, we'll talk about the.
Let me get this taxes thing. Okay. Maybe I'm missing this. Oh my god. Where's the scene? Why can I not find this simple scene? It should be pretty easy to find. Is Uprising with Eriwn? Is that your favorite Eriwn moments?
It's my favorite Eriwn. It's my favorite Eriwn before the time skip.
Okay, so parody rumblings to your favorite Eriwn?
Wolf of Paradise Eriwn. I really like Eriwn just in Mali. But Wolf of Paradise Eriwn is probably the best written.
Oh, you're one of those people.
What do you mean?
The people who like Marley.
I like Mali Eriwn. He's cool. He looks cool. I like his design. And he's like stoic, like.
The girls love Marley Eriwn, Hobo Eriwn.
Because he looks like Jack Sparrow. That's why.
Yeah, the Mikasa people. Oh, Twitter.
You know, I like Mali Eriwn because he's interesting. And he's an interesting way to reintroduce the character after like a bit of not seeing him.
Twitter EMs prove my theory on corporal punishment and why it should be used more clearly. At least you're not disagreeing. Okay, I cannot for the life of me find this panel.
Well, tell me. Well, just say what it is.
I'm just gonna have to go from memory. It would be nice to have a panel. But anyway, I really can't find it. Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna try one last time. It's actually Joe over. They run into so to read your point, they run into a group of people. So after Eriwn sealed up Trost, people started moving back into Trost, but they were really poor, and obviously the city was ravished. So it wasn't really a bustling metropolis after everything got destroyed from the Titans invading and the subsequent operations, using the artillery and such to, to get rid of the Titans. But, actually, I just found a chapter. Excellent. So, the people when they were poor. So, here it is. The Silver Corps leaves because they're doing experiments in the cabin in the woods. And then they leave there and they come into the people who are in Trost. And this brings up a very interesting moral dilemma. So they talk to him and say, "Where do we want to start? Where do I want to start?" They say, "Our income's gone. We can't eat. The garrison ran off somewhere, and the crowd of thieves came in their place. But taxes are high as ever. What are we supposed to do? Why do things turn like this? Why the Titans attack, and I think I know why. It's because you and the circle aren't working hard enough. I've always blamed myself that I didn't make enough money in my business. I've always blamed myself. If I didn't make enough money, if I don't make money in my business, I work and get nothing in return all the time. But it's not like that for you people, is it? You lazy around, get nothing done, and you still get to eat." And said, "Right, what are you doing here? Strolling around shopping, yada yada yada." So, obviously, not all of what he's saying is true. So, of course, not lazy, obviously. But he just brings up a very good point, which is that their taxes are they're losing their livelihoods. They lost their jobs and their businesses, and their taxes are being increased. And the Circuit Corps uses those taxes, and they get their rations. They get roofs over their heads. They're fine. But as he mentioned, if he had a business and he failed, he would be out of business. But the Circuit Corps has been since their inception has just been atrociously failing. Has gotten almost nothing done besides sealing the hole in Trost, which is what they're in now, and they're constantly using their tax dollars to essentially kill a bunch of people and get nothing done. So that to me posed a very interesting moral dilemma. So without just obviously within hindsight, the Circuit Corps was a good thing that Eriwn got introduced. But without hindsight, do you think just the inception and the continuation of the Circuit Corps was a moral good?
I mean, well, let's see what Mira has to say first. Echidna.
That man Echidna hasn't spoken in like a whole hour.
Yeah.
I bet he's on the game. Let me see. He's playing Tekken.
No, what?
Yup, you're playing Tekken.
Never. I would never. What? Anyways.
This is
Yeah,
the third game
yeah,
you
this is
play.
like
You were on Street Fighter, then you were on Multiverses, now you're on Tekken. Like the second he asked you a question, I knew damn well you was not paying
I'm a
attention.
multi-talented man, bro. No, but I was listening to your question. I think this kind of boils down to personal philosophy, I guess. But yeah, me personally, I totally think the Survey Corps is justified. Since like, it's not like they're exactly like bleeding the state dry, as far as I'm aware, and just having some sort of front to actually like fight for your own fucking freedom and whatever is, I think it's necessary, even if the chance is like 1% of achieving anything. There's still that chance. I think you have to go for it. So yeah, I love the Survey Corps. I'm a Survey Corps stan.
So you do agree that they had a moral right to take tax dollars from starving people?
Yeah, but like that's like, I mean, that's like, you can say that about anything, bro. Like right now, like our government be taking millions of dollars, giving it to like random shit when they could definitely be using it for like better purposes. So,
I'm just asking you what your thoughts on this were.
The implication that the Survey Corps existing means people are gonna starve is just stupid. So like,
No, I wasn't saying they're starving. No, I'm not saying they're starving. I'm saying that there's people who are starving who are getting taxed a lot. And the Survey Corps, which is completely unsuccessful, is able to sustain themselves and use their tax dollars from starving people. And do you think that's a moral good, or do you think it's morally justified?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
okay.
it's good.
Yeah. Cool. Mirror?
What's up?
What are your thoughts on the matter?
What about them not giving money to people?
It's also about the like, do you think that it's the Source Core's existence, not in hindsight, obviously, because they were quite successful. You think that Source Core's existence is morally justified due to the fact that they use the citizens' tax dollars and were extremely unsuccessful. But as people are going to poverty from the trough attacks, they're still able to be comfortable and eat and have shelter, even though they're wildly unsuccessful. Is that morally justified, in your opinion?
Okay, so before I even answer this, is this just within the context of parody, or like can I include the context of like the rest of the world?
No, this is without hindsight, in just within parody. So we're not taking into consideration what ended up happening, just the in universe, the characters maintaining and maintaining in the inception of the Survey Corps throughout all this. Was that a morally justified thing to do?
Well, honestly, the thing about the Survey Corps is they already said that in the story, you really could have just stayed in the walls and just sealed everything up. Like, you don't have to do this. But it's more so, the thing about the Survey Corps is that they believe that humanity has a right to experience the world, the outside world, and not be oppressed by any threats like Titans or whatever. Like, why do we as humans, whose entire thing is curiosity, why do we gotta be stuck behind these walls? And mind you, there's a lot of resources in the outside world. If they succeed, you don't have to worry about any of those. Is this tax morally right or wrong? Like, you have an endless sea with endless salt that they can get from the merchants or whatever. Like, there's a ton of crops. Like, at the end of the day, even though you know, these
You're
tax
saying, okay,
dollars
so-
might be getting wasted, the payoff that they could get from it is insane. And we already saw what they got from it. If you remember, this is at the end, in the end of Attack on Titan, you saw how parody was developing. And in the Blu-ray version, they made them even look even more futuristic in only a couple years.
Oh, I know very well. So that's a very interesting argument. So you're saying basically this would be the payoff is worth it if it were to be successful.
Yes.
It is, even though it may seem hopeless, it is a moral good because it could.
Yeah, it's like basically a gamble.
Yes, in true Commander Eriwn fashion. I miss him. Wow. Okay. Good. Okay, great. That's a very interesting perspective. Binger, do you have any thoughts on the matter?
I just agree with Mira, man. I think Mira got it spot on.
Yeah, he got it spot on.
I don't have much to add.
Excellent. Yeah. Kina's like, oh, played Street Fighter. Oh, yeah. So you got it spot on.
Yeah, bro.
The only Kidna like after the first Kidna and Beluga debate, the only time Kidna opened his mouth was when you talk about how cool Annie is.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Oh, you mean the part where Kidna was saying that Annie looks better than Mikasa?
True. So true.
She does.
I feel every
Definitely.
podcast we end up ranking the girls. I feel like this is what happens. I don't know. It kind of reflects poorly on me. Oh well. But no, definitely. If we're gonna be ranking the female characters based off of their looks, yeah, Annie definitely is more.
So it goes Annie.
Mikasa.
No, not Mikasa.
Please do not mention this. Pistoria is not even in the conversation. She shouldn't even
Oi!
be mentioned.
Okay,
What's
okay,
that?
fine. Nothing.
Pistoria is extremely mid, like aggressively mid.
I mean, she is like really generic looking. Like,
Might as well add Yelena in there. Honestly, to me, there's really no difference between.
honestly, I genuinely, I'm a Yelena fan, to be honest. I like.
I
Yelena.
feel like there's a little bit of an agenda here, like saying aggressively mid.
This is, I mean, honestly, I gotta agree with Kidna. Like, this is an agenda right now. Y'all are downplaying Queen Historia.
Man, I'm not down for it.
I'm saying this as somebody who has never liked Historia that much and never understood the hype. You're going too far if you're saying aggressively mid, bro. You want to talk about aggressively mid? That's Andy right there.
Okay, we done now.
Nah, bro, aggressively mid would be peak.
Not just mid, like actually like a negative.
Whoa. Peak? Oh, wait a second. Whoa. Someone is woefully misinformed. Woefully.
Okay. Okay, I know about the thing. I know what you're gonna say. But with the face mask.
This is about to turn into a whole shipping podcast.
Yeah, okay, we're done.
Yeah, that's not. You don't need to talk about this.
Let's just move on before we condemn ourselves all to hell.
You know, we need at least 30 minutes on this topic.
Nah.
I mean, Kidna was cooking in the first half. It was just the second half. I'm like, what happened?
Yelena's the best. Yelena's the best. Let's just agree. Yelena's the best.
I have to say it.
Sure.
I'm sorry, bro. Somebody has to speak the truth.
Sure,
Yelena's supremacy. Yelena.
Nah, I think the farmer looks the best. That's my personal take.
If only we knew his name. If only.
Sean. His name is Sean, actually.
Nah, Demo Reeves. Demo Reeves is the best. Like, genuinely, Demo Reeves.
Yep.
Pastor Nick looks the best.
Flagel.
No, Armin.
Demo and Flagel.
Cross-dressing
Okay.
Armin.
Gabby.
Whoa.
Wait.
You see, now, you see, hold on now. Gabby, hold on now. I'ma act like I didn't hear I'ma act like I didn't hear what I clearly just heard.
Kidna, Beluga. You're not Muhammad bin Tennyson, man.
Yeah, I don't actually believe that. Just to clarify, I don't actually believe that. Just guys, just so you can, just so everyone's clear. That was a joke. I don't actually believe that. Okay, peek in the nanny. Okay, let's go back to.
What about Papa Nick? What about Papa?
Regularly.
You see, people talk about how built different Rod Reese's Titan is, but you know, I'm just saying, like, if you throw the Colossal Titan at it with a nuke, like, I don't know, man. I don't know,
to
man.
our regularly scheduled. Okay.
We're not Uri though.
Yeah, sure. So, the last topic. Can they get off your game? We're playing up to the middle of this.
This is really important.
Yo, he switched back to Street Fighter.
The last topic I want to talk about is, again, kind of similar to what me and Tinder first debated about at the beginning of the show, but I think there is a little bit of a difference here. So, the thing I want to discuss is, really what the message is with the coup, the first coup, and secondly, was the Surikor right to do the coup? And the reason why I'm saying this is because what's very interesting to me, as I mentioned with my brilliant, amazing proprietary pyramid, the themes of the story are obviously the most paramount, and so most everything will have a thematic purpose, which including this big plot point, this coup. Now, as I mentioned, themes are systems of rewards and penalties. And so, let's just assume for a minute, the Surikor was wrong to do the coup, will they be penalized for it? What's very interesting is that they do the coup, and then the Historia self-coups the island again, thus making them fugitives again. So, which I think that was very interesting. And the other thing with this is that the coup is predicated. The coup's moral justification comes from Pixis. It's about in story now. So there's sort of like this nuance where is the story court justified IRL, like from the perspective, and then is the story court justified? What is the story trying to say? So Pixis provides some moral justification for this coup, because Pix is supposed to be the moral character. Eriwn's doing this for his own gain. Zachly's doing this. My goat Zachly is doing this. Most underrated character, by the way.
He did nothing wrong. He did nothing wrong. I agree. He did nothing wrong. He was the realest one of them all. He did not care about anything. He was amazing. I love Zachly. So he was doing this for his own benefit. But then there was Pixis, who Pixis was the one who was extremely. Well, he wasn't righteous, but he tried to be very righteous. He was like, I'm going to do what is best. So if you're right, I'll be with you. But if you're wrong, I'm going to send you to the gallows. I'll go to the gallows with you as well. And so the story is saying that the coup was righteous because Pixis supports it. However, what is very interesting is that then after the little dust settles and after everything is done, after 123 and the rumbling starts and the Jaeger's forms, it's hard to actually tell what the real good guys and bad guys were. Because if we're talking about humanity, what's best for humanity, and that's what the coup was predicated on, that the royal government was worse for humanity and they're more fit for humanity. Well, the reason why the founder was relevant, and the reason why this was happening is because the founder had the vows to renounce war. He had the vows to renounce war to prevent war from happening. If the founder wanted to seek vengeance on Marley or wanted to continue the war with Marley, they ended up subverting King Fritz's will, they ended up subverting the royal family's will. Eriwn ended up getting the founding Titan, and ended up initiating the Rumbling, and they ended up destroying 80% of humanity. So, I guess the question, what I'm trying to say is, with this in hindsight, with the Rumbling happening, with the vow to renounce war, which is the point of the whole, the suppression, and the royal government hiding all this stuff, and the royal government trying to secure Eriwn again. With that in hindsight, does the coup still maintain its moral high ground, given the fact that this was the predicate of the coup? Did that make sense to everyone, by the way? I hope that wasn't too confusing.
Honestly, the question was too long.
Okay, wow. Let me try to do this again. So, I'm really asking two questions here. So, number one is, what are your personal thoughts on this? What are you as a viewer reading the story? What do you think? Do you believe the coup is righteous, and why? In hindsight, given the rumbling onward. And then the second question is, what is the message of the coup? What is the author trying to say with the coup? And thirdly, whatever the answer to that question was, does the coup maintain its moral high ground given the context of the rumbling? Does that make sense to everyone?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't really care one way or another. I want to talk about a few other things, but...
Okay. Well, since you understand Mira, do you mind explaining what your thoughts on the matter are?
No, let me hear Kidna cook first. Hold on.
Yeah, Kidna.
I don't think you just paid attention.
Totally morally justified. They're all heroes. They should all get medals.
I mean, they did get medals for RTS.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally justified. They cooed
Okay.
a ineffective, corrupt government, and they instated, patriots, and they were heroes. So it was totally justified.
So
Exactly like
okay,
this was the most...
It's even more justified by the end of the story.
why do you say that?
Because they saved parody from. I mean, not really, because it got nuked like 100 years later, but they saved parody from imminent destruction. If it wasn't, parody would have been wiped out within probably 20 to 30 years.
Well, the coup wasn't about the moral high ground. The coup that come from parody came from the benefit of humanity. So
Yeah, humanity within the walls. Yeah.
No, humanity.
No, humanity within the walls.
No, definitely humanity. Definitely humanity inside the walls. The reason I know this for a fact is because Pixis was not a Jaegerist, so that argument is completely irrelevant.
Are we talking about the second coup? Did I blank out? Which coup are we talking about?
How about the
Uprising?
first coup? Yeah.
What do you mean? So what are you talking about?
The moral high ground, the moral righteousness of the coup. Moral righteousness. The righteousness of the coup is predicated on the fact that Pixis supports it. Because it's the best for humanity. So Pixis, you're saying it's for humanity inside the walls. I'm saying no, it's not for humanity inside the walls. As per Pixis not supporting
Yeah,
the
but
walls.
they didn't know anybody existed outside the walls. So.
Yeah. But they still meant for humanity. And they still my voice is.
Sure. Okay.
So I'll repeat the question to you then. So do you believe that the coup was an ultimate benefit of humanity? Still, in retrospect.
Yes.
Why?
Because if the coup didn't happen, they would have been wiped out.
Humanity was already wiped out. Almost wiped out, I should say.
What do you mean?
So
Really?
you're saying, yeah, 80% of humanity was
Oh,
destroyed.
you're trying to. Oh, that's what you're saying. Humanity. Why are you intentionally trying to misunderstand the point? They didn't when the coup happened in the Uprising Arc. All they knew was humanity within the walls.
Yes.
Right. So if a bird would have flown down and told Pixis that there exists 2 billion people outside of the walls that want to kill you, he would probably have a different perspective. But based on what he did.
Stop.
What do you mean?
That's not what I'm talking about. So a bird. Okay, this is a great point. So if a bird flew down and told Pixis this, what do you think he would have done?
What he ended up doing in season 4.
Which is
If the outside world wants to wipe us out, I'm gonna protect humanity within the walls.
I'm
I'm not gonna lay down and die.
So a bird comes, picks an air when we're having this conversation over their whiskey. A bird comes and the bird says, "Hey, Pixis, actually, there's a couple billion people outside the walls, and the reason why the world government is trying to maintain the founders because of the vow to announce war. and the walls can be used as a tool of global genocide and modeling parody at war right now. You're at the last remnant of humanity. So what does Pixis send to the Eriwn?
That's even more justification to do the coup.
Oh, okay, yeah, why? Explain.
Because the government is suicidal. It wants to lay down and die.
All right, there we
So
go.
doing the coup is even more justified because the government is actively, admittedly suicidal. When they did the coup in the Uprising Arc, they didn't know. They just knew that they were corrupt pieces of shit, basically. They didn't know that, and it was still justified then. So it's even more justified.
All right, let me go over here and interject.
More justified. Wait, no. Oh, listen. How is it more justified? If there's only a million people on parody at this point, so it's better for humanity than suicidals. I don't see your point.
Okay, you're playing this really bizarre game where you're trying to twist humanity, defined how it was in season 3, and humanity literally. You're trying to combine them both. Like, why are you doing that? Like,
I think you misunderstand the question. I'm asking you, in retrospect, is the story that you tend to think we all know you're bloodthirsty nationalist, okay?
No, absolutely not. I'm the opposite of that.
Sure. That's why you believe that Eriwn didn't go far enough.
Whoa! I never said that. Did I say that? I would never say something like that.
Yo, let me interject in here, cause.
No. In a second. Just hold your thoughts for a little bit more, please.
Okay.
I don't think I think you misunderstand the question, kid. I'm saying
I really
please
repeat it.
In retrospect, given everything that happened, does the coup in retrospect lose its moral justification? Because the predicate of the coup was that it was better for that the Starker, that like Airman was better to fit for humanity. They were more fit for humanity's best interests at heart. Whereas the world government did not have humanity's best interests at heart. And they were not better for humanity. So given what happened in retrospect, in hindsight, does it still maintain that moral justification? Because remember, the moral justification for the coup happens through Pixis. That's what it's predicated on, is Pixis. So that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, it still retains its justification because Pixis is not responsible for Eriwn and Flock's actions, so still retains its justification.
What do you mean by that?
As in, if I did something and through an unintended consequence, right? Not through my own action, through an unintended consequence of my actions, something really bad happened, that doesn't mean it's my fault.
I don't see how that's related to...
I'm saying when the coup happened in the Uprising Arc, based on the knowledge that they had at the time...
No, not based on the knowledge. I'm not talking about based on the knowledge they had. We're not considering that.
Okay, even in hindsight... Okay, I don't... It still retains its moral justification because, like, let's say I go and do something good. I give charity to somebody, right? Let's say I give somebody $1,000. They take that $1,000 and they buy a rifle and they shoot up a public place. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that my action was morally evil because I had no knowledge or bearing on the guy doing that. Right?
Pause. Let me define. Okay, this is good. So this is where the breaking is happening. When I say moral justification, what I mean is, here's a better example. Someone tells you, "Oh, I'm hungry. I need. Someone says I need to pay rent. I need $1,000. He's $1,000 so he can pay rent. You pay him $1,000. He buys a rifle and they shoot up a mall. The moral justification of you giving him $1,000 was he needed to pay rent. That moral justification is lost if he uses the rifle to buy. If he uses the money to buy a rifle to shoot a mall. So if someone were to say, in hindsight, do they retain a moral justification? The answer would be no. Not that you're immoral for doing that. I'm not saying you're immoral for doing that. I'm just saying the predicate of your decision is proved to be faulty. That's all I'm saying. So I'm not saying you're a bad person, you shouldn't have done this, you're bad for doing this. I'm saying the predicate was falsified by later events. So I'm asking you, was the predicate falsified by subsequent events?
Are you asking a moral question, or are you asking a question about the consequences of what happened? Like, what do you mean?
No, it's not.
There's a difference between the two.
Yeah, as I just demonstrated, it's not a moral question. As I just demonstrated. So
Not a moral. Are you saying would it have been better for planet Earth if the coup never happens?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that a controversial question? I'm pretty sure it's better if 2 billion or 1.6 billion people don't die. So, no matter what my politics are on the issue, obviously it's better if 1.6 billion people don't die. But that doesn't mean that when they did the coup, or what they were attempting to do with the coup, was morally unjustified.
I never was saying otherwise. Okay. So you think it's bad then? You think that it loses its predicate?
Well, what do you mean by predicate?
So it was, as I said before, with the analogy with the gun. You give the man $1,000 to pay rent, and he goes and he shoots at the mall with his $1,000. The predicate has been falsified because you gave him money. Yeah,
but that's completely coincidental. So I don't understand. So this is not a moral question.
Yes, as I've said a billion times, it's not a moral question. I'm not saying you are a bad person. You're morally bad for doing. I'm saying the predicate was falsified by subsequent events. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying it's not a question of were you a bad person for giving him $1,000.
Okay, no, like elaborate on what you mean by the predicate is falsified.
If someone were to look back,
what basically?
So if someone were to look back at it, so the predicate of you giving him $1,000, the predicate was he needs to pay rent. The you get $1,000 was predicated on the fact he needs to pay rent. That predicate was then falsified by subsequent events. So the moral justification was lost. Not that you're a bad person, you're immoral from giving him the money. No one's saying that. I'm saying, was the predicate still true in the future?
I mean, okay, the predicate is they need to do what they can do to save humanity in the walls. Okay, so don't try.
No, not in the walls. No, not in the walls.
In the walls. So are you saying Pictius as a person, do you think you'd be like, you know what? There are 2 billion people who want to kill us. We can't fight them. We can't win. Just we'll lay down and die because it's better than.
I'm not saying any of that.
I don't understand. I really don't understand your point because you said you're not making a moral point.
I think you were cooking when you understood what I said when you said and you said it's obviously better for 1.6 billion.
No, but I see like these events are not linked. Like they're completely not linked. Like
okay, why is it not linked? That's perfect.
Like why is it Pictius's fault in any way that Eriwn decided to go psycho?
I'm not saying it's Pictius's fault. No one said that. I never said that.
Okay, so then what's the point of the question? Why are you saying moral or whatever predicate?
Just okay. Erase the word moral from your mind then, because the point I was trying to make was that
I don't. Okay, I'm of the personal belief that good actions are not.
I'm not talking about like morality in the sense that.
No, I'm not even talking about intention. Like good actions are not made to be bad based on their consequences.
I agree. I agree with you. I'm not saying that either.
I don't think you could realistically foresee what happened. I don't think you did anything wrong, morally or strategically. Then what do you? I don't get. I don't get. I don't get what you're saying.
Any of that. Let's go back with the gun analogy. Someone comes to you.
No. The analogy is not the issue here. It's what you're asking. Like it's like the word predicate basically. Like, what do you mean by that? The analogy is not the issue here. I get the analogy. Like, what do you mean by predicate? Predicate of what?
Predicate. Okay. If someone were to say, why did you give this guy rent? What was the reason? What were the factors that determined you giving this guy $1,000? What would you say?
He told me he was poor and that he needed money to pay rent.
Okay. Exactly. So if he was rich and he came to you, you wouldn't have given it money to him, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you giving him money was predicated on him needing the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. That predicate can be falsified by subsequent events, i.e., it's shown he is indeed not poor, he's actually wealthy, and he used the money to buy a gun and shoot people in the mall. So, in that case, the moral justification of you giving him $1,000 is falsified. Not that you're a bad person for doing that, but or not that you shouldn't have done it, not that you should have foreseen this, is that what you did, the reason why you gave it to him, the reason that you had, are no longer true, and they were never true.
Okay, I don't think the predicate was falsified because I differentiate between humanity within the walls and humanity on planet Earth.
Well, the story doesn't, so that's not relevant.
Story doesn't? Where does it say that?
Alright, Pixis not being a... Okay, Mira, can you go.
Was it my turn finally?
You do realize Jaegerists are not the only entity on the island that value Paradis' safety above the world.
You don't understand my point for whatever reason, which is fine. I think Mira had something to say, so maybe if me and him talk, you'll understand.
Damn. Well, what I was going to say is that you remember the question about the survey corps and the taxes and stuff and what I answered?
Mm-hmm.
So
I do.
If you remember, one of the major reasons that the coup even happened is because they were trying to shut down the survey corps.
I do remember, of course.
So if you shut down the survey corps, then any chance of those nearly endless resources being in your grasp would just never be obtained.
Of course, but the question I'm asking is, from the perspective of hindsight, does the story falsify the justification for the coup in universe?
You asked, do they falsify the justification for the coup?
Mm-hmm. In universe, because it was predicated on the coup being the best thing for humanity. Does that reign true even after all the events of the story?
Yes. Yes, I think that it does.
Great. Why do you think that?
Because of Paradis's development during the 20,000 years.
How does that serve humanity?
Well, you said that it was during the events after the entire story. So, we saw that not only was the world, they were being open to Paradis's people, and Paradis was getting access to other continents' resources, but we also saw, like I said, we saw Paradis Island's entire society becoming futuristic, probably even faster than in real life. Maybe not, but they were being incredibly successful in only 100 years if you saw on that timestamp. And we saw flying cars in the Blu-ray version that they updated. So humanity was essentially just thriving, and you only saw them getting hit three times in those 20,000 years. 3 or 4 times.
So, okay, and this is related, and this is correlated. You said this is linked to, this is directly correlated with the coup, or indirectly correlated to the coup.
Yeah, like the Survey Corps, being back into position because they're trying to shut them down.
Yeah, but the Survey Corps eventually lost its power. As I said, the story itself queued the island after, and so I don't know what you're saying. The Survey Corps created a society when they were. That's not what happened.
I'm saying, like, if you take away, well, yes, Historia was into power. That you're right about that, but the military was the one doing most of the stuff, during the time between season 3 and 4 and season 4, because it's not like Historia had any experience as a queen, or she knew how to deal with those stuffs.
Yeah. My point was that there was another coup on the island that delegitimized the Survey Corps. So I'm saying, why are you attributing society's goodness to the Survey Corps when they lost their position of power in War for Parity?
Hold on.
Binder, you gonna participate?
Why are you correlating society's goodness and the Survey Corps when they lost their power during the War for Parity?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand that question at all.
Okay, so the coup happens. Survey Corps becomes the rulers of Parity. Historia's in the Survey Corps. She's the queen. The coup is done in service of the Survey Corps, but the Survey Corps in a position of power where they can carry out their missions in peace. We have the whole, they're strategizing. We have people. We have Levi, Eriwn. Not Eriwn. We have Levi. It was Levi. Eriwn, Mikasa, all Survey Corps members who were in Survey Corps, actively participating in Survey Corps activities. And before Eriwn died, even Eriwn, they were, in control of the island. They were ruling the island. Afterward, Historia and Flock and whatnot, they do a self-coup, and the Survey Corps is now not in the government anymore. The Survey Corps they're now fugitives. They've lost their commission, right? So, if you look at it, Eriwn was a government official. Eriwn worked for the crown. Eriwn was a part of the Paradisian military. Hanji had a commission. She worked for the crown. She, was part of the government, part of the military. Armin wasn't. So, at some point between Hanji's tenure and Armin's tenure, the Survey Corps lost its power, and they were turned to fugitives because of the self-coup. So, when you mention that, and the coups, the very interesting thing is that both Flock and Historia were part of the Survey Corps, but then they end up deposing the Survey Corps, so it's just very interesting dynamic there. So my point is that why you're saying the coup was good because it led to this societal flourishing, as you can see in the Blu-ray. But I'm saying, why are you attributing that to the Survey Corps when the Survey Corps is no longer in charge of the island? The Jaegers are in charge of the island.
Okay, so I understand. So you're basically saying because of their, participation, their role in regards to the government and stuff.
Yeah, because they were no longer government officials. They no longer worked for Parity. They were forced out. They remained fugitives. And the Jaegers, Historia, Flock, they ruled the island. Well, Flock was dead, of course, but the Jaegers ruled the island, and then the Jaegers returned to the armed forces wing, or the expeditionary force of the armed forces.
like the Civil Corps was used in 100.
Okay, now ask yourself why the coup is happening.
Which coup? This story's coup?
In regards to the Jaegerists.
Well, that was happened because the ineptitude of the leader of the Civil Corps, Hanji Zoe, and the fact that they wanted to, they were hiding information, they were hiding Eriwn from the public, who wanted to unite Eriwn and Zeke so they can initiate the rumbling to protect the island. And the government, which would be the Civil Corps, did not agree with that, and there was distance between the different branches of government, and so they were dealt with, and the government was unified under a Jaegerist ideology.
Okay, so basically, out of that, in all of the events that ties into the coup, they just direct back to stuff going on with the outside world. Like, that's the only reason Eriwn was even causing Jaegerists to appear anyway. Like, you know, if you really want to get to the meat of it, even if you exclude the stuff going on with the outside world, they still open up the entire island to the rest of the entire island, which we know it's bigger than Texas. Like, the walls within itself is bigger than Texas, and the island is way, way bigger than the walls. Now, and then we also got to see, like, you remember in the season 4 flashback, when the Marleyan ships were arriving and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, when they were teaming up with Marley, because, you know, the Survey Corps was the one acting on that. We got to see that they were getting upgrades. Like, you know, they were learning about
the Mausers and stuff.
What happened?
Yeah, the Mausers and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And then, you know, technology advancements.
And he's really in their aircraft.
Like, actually, the only reason that... go ahead.
No, I just realized because you mentioned them bringing technology and preparing.
Yeah, you know, we know that they've been also mining the, I believe, if I'm recalling it right, they were also using the iceberg stone from the Royal Government Arc in, what was that place called? The one where Eriwn was chained up in. But yeah, like, they not only did they get access to all the resources that they needed to get, but, you know, we also know that Paradis has a special resource, the iceberg stone, that nobody in the world has, and the stone is what allows them to contend with Titan hardening. And, like, we know what Titan hardening is capable of, especially thanks to the armor Titan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's pretty much the what they use to make the walls. That's why Titans can't get through. Hardening can destroy the walls too. And we saw Hanji when they were making, you remember those things they were using to kill the Titans without having to fight them? They were basically reinforcing the walls. Yeah, they were reinforcing the walls. So, like, I want you to keep in mind that the only reason that they were even put into that situation was because of the inconvenience of Marvelly.
Yeah, I know, but honestly, that's terribly germane to the topic.
Because Eriwn was in, like, we already know that Eriwn was in control of the story by season 4. So any inconvenience happening to the Survey Corps, like, pretty much is because of him.
So if you were to do a TLDR of your point on why this was a net benefit for humanity, what would you say as a TLDR?
I would say that they open them up to the resources and technology that they needed to for the future, even for the indirect future at the end of the story. Like, even if they weren't a part of it in the warfare parody, like, they're still the reason that they can flourish like that in the first place.
Very curious. Okay, yeah. I think we covered more than. Again, I'm not really here to, like. I'm just playing devil's advocate, everyone. So I think you covered the ground. Unless you have any more thing to add to that, I think you made your point very, very clear, and I appreciate that. So this kind of leads into the Warriors, and especially Willie, because they were trying. They were, especially Willie. Actually, no. I'll ask you this: do you guys who believes that Willie was in the wrong?
Who believes that Willie was in the wrong?
You do. Kid, excellent. Willie.
You know why he was in the wrong? Because he could have. Him and Zeke could have acted as mediators. They didn't even attempt to.
Mediators with Eriwn?
With parody in general.
But it didn't. So instead of acting as mediators, they baited them, and.
If you go by the logic that Eriwn would have, like, you know what I'm saying? He went rogue. There's nothing you can do about it. If you go by that logic, then I guess he's not in the wrong. But he didn't even attempt to act as a mediator when he's the only person who had that ability to do that, because he's the only high-ranking Eldian that the world trusts. So he is the only person who had the power to actually bridge the gap, and he chose not to even attempt to do it. So
what did he do?
He, as soon as he heard that Eriwn has the Founding Titan and he went rogue, he's like, okay, we just gotta nuke him off the face of the earth.
That is. Well, that's actually not entirely what happened. I kind of obfuscating the plot a little bit.
Did he ever try to establish a line of communication?
No. I mean, I'm not saying that he didn't. I'm not saying that he didn't. I'm not saying that he didn't establish a line of communication with Perry or trying to mediate. I agree with you. He did not do that, but it's not as though Willie said, "Okay, Eriwn has to find time. Let's just destroy them all." Willie, I think I'm gonna go with advocate Willie here, because I think that Willie, really, it was a test. It was to say, if this is true, then I'm justified in doing this. So he, as a noble, selfless hero, sacrificed himself, knowing for certain that he was going to die, and like Eriwn, his death would bring about the good of humanity. And so what happened was he went out.
Did you just cut out?
Are we free?
Wait.
Free?
Huh? Hello?
You cut out for like 15 seconds.
Oh no, we're just going to leave off.
Talking about Willie.
Willie was a noble, selfless hero who knew that he would die for certain. And this is sort of like, as I said, it's sort of like a test. So it's true, he didn't try to mediate. However, he was trying to expose Eriwn's nature for what it was. It was basically, if this, then that. So he went up on stage and he said, "Okay, I'm going to do this, and if maybe Eriwn will try to meet with me, he's not going to meet with me." That's what happened. He didn't meet with me.
So they were both playing poker and they both lost. Well, I mean, okay, you wouldn't agree with that, obviously, but
What do you mean I wouldn't agree with that?
I think to a bare minimum degree. I know, like, on the inside, Eriwn, there is a child of evil within him that just wants to nuke the world for the sake of it. But I do genuinely believe that, at least to a bare minimum degree, if he like genuinely believed that they could have, established peace with the outside world, I think he wouldn't have done it. Like, there's a reason why the story makes Eriwn. No, I'm just gonna say one thing. There's a reason why the story makes Eriwn wait until Willie literally says this is a declaration of war. So they both have an argument to say about the other. Like, oh, you're saying he was trying to expose his nature. Both sides here can say that they're playing poker. But Willie's the one who basically like showed his hand first, and then Eriwn responded. You could you can make the argument that it doesn't matter because he would have done the same thing anyway. But that's not what happened in the story. In the story, he waited until Willie declared war.
That's an extremely fair point. And I'm like, obviously, it's not. We're not going to talk about Jacob, we can just touch this with what happened in the story. That's a very fair point. But if you look at what happened, I mean, I guess let's put yourself in Willie's shoes. Like, you've oppressed the Eldians for 100 years, and you thought it was all fine and dandy. You thought nothing was going to happen to you, and all of a sudden, some embittered child who lost his mother and had his hometown invaded has the founding titan. I mean, are you going to? I mean, I guess, of course, like in retrospect, you say, "Oh, you should have tried to arbitrary peace." Oh, but in retrospect, in this kinetic situation, could you really expect someone to negotiate with someone who's like that, who has been clearly wronged by you and clearly has the power to retaliate and has no reason not to divest? Is it reasonable to expect a negotiation to even happen in the first place?
I think we all love this story so much that we kind of like cover our eyes to it, but this is one of those anime moments that just like it's a little bit I'm not saying it's like bad writing or it's like horrible, but it is a little bit contrived just to get to where the plot needs to be.
Oh.
So I do believe that Willie Tybur being an Eldian, he's aware of the truth of the world. He knows about the lies that they've been feeding people for generations. He knows that the Eldians on the island are not bad. They don't even know what happened. He knows all of this, right? So this makes him, like, honestly, this makes him one of the most evil characters in the show. Like, he knows that the people on the island are literally not aware at all of what's going on, and they're completely innocent, basically. And then he had no problems with, and he admits it, he had no problems with whatever they were doing when they were ignorant. But then all of a sudden, Eriwn gets power, and all of a sudden, okay, we gotta nuke him off the face of the earth. He could have, he understands the situation more than anybody. He could have at least attempted to establish a line of communication.
He wants to obtain the honor again.
Look,
No. I understand that you're saying he should have established a line of communication. I'll get to that in a second. But you're saying I reject that. Hold it, he was evil. How was he evil? He wasn't saying that he should nuke him off the face of the earth. He's just saying.
I'm not saying the declaration. I'm not talking about just the declaration of war. I'm talking about him, his whole existence. Him as a person.
This man has self-hatred. He literally he said, I hate that I'm an Eldian. Like,
this guy knew. No, listen, this guy knew everybody on the island was ignorant and innocent. They knew nothing about what was going on. And when they sent the warriors the first time, he had no problem. Kill him, 1 million, 2 million, kill them all. Fucking kill them all. But then the moment Eriwn is like, actually, I got the Titan. Oh, now he's shitting his pants. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's a racist, bro. This dude literally said, I hate that I'm an Eldian. He said, I hate my blood. I'm
saying he caused that to happen. And then when the situation got out of his control, and he admits this. That's why he's a very good, well-written character, and he's a very good character. Then when the situation got out of his control, then he's all of a sudden like, okay, we just gotta declare war, and that's why like, have you heard about the whole Carl Fritz theory thing? That's why there's.
Oh yeah.
That's why there is schizo insane conspiracy theories, because people say that they say this is way too contrived that it doesn't make sense. That Isayama is actually trying to say that there's like a 16-dimensional chess game going on where they're I don't even know enough about this.
I saw. Okay, I gotta be honest. I saw like half of an hour video on that theory. You know, I got halfway in and then I just realized that it was just cringe.
It's nonsense. It's nonsense.
It was
Like,
cringe.
There are schizo theories. And again, you can find hour-plus videos on YouTube on it. People are saying that Willie and Eriwn and Carl Fritz and everybody's in cahoots with each other. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like they basically say that there are holes in statements or like events that aren't there. Like they make it seem like that.
They poke holes in things exactly like this to make this theory. So, am I saying it's badly written? Look, am I saying it's badly written? No, I'm not saying it's badly written. But I am saying that every fiction has a certain level of contrivance to get the plot to where it needs to be. And
all fiction is all contrivance.
Okay, true. Okay, sure. But the point is, I'm saying this plot point is contrived, unrealistically so that the plot reaches a certain point. So you're saying Willie as an Eldian who understands the situation. He understands that they're not like evil people. He understands what's going on. He couldn't try to establish a line of communication before you send the nukes. We do that on planet Earth. Did we just nuke North Korea or Cuba or without talking to them?
We almost nuked Cuba, almost.
Yeah, but they're still around, aren't they? So like,
exactly. Sometimes North Korea is the irrelevant state. It has no significance to anyone.
I mean, like it's case by case.
Turn off your Isayama worshiper brain for like 30 seconds. Give me your honest to God answer. You're telling me it wasn't reasonable. Like it wouldn't be a reasonable ask of Willie Tybur to try to establish.
No.
Not just reasonable, but like required before you do something that you generally believe.
Was the moral thing? I wouldn't have done that. I would be moving quickly to take the founder back immediately. If your argument is he doesn't need to attempt to establish communication, then I'm gonna say he's morally in the wrong. He's in the wrong. Sure, I can accept that. Sure.
There's a lot of irrational events.
Because he's as much of an instigator as we say Eriwn is. So like,
there's a lot of irrational events that happen in real life.
That's a good analogy. No, I think
like related to race.
Willie Tybur was having the time of his life when he was sending kids to go kill 2 million people. He was having the time of his fucking life. And then when Eriwn got the founding titan, he's like, oh shit, we fucked up. It's out of our control now. So they both played poker. Willie lost. Okay, they were both playing poker. Yeah. Willie lost. He go fucking kill himself.
Very forceful.
Willie just represents the irrational events that happen in real life related to race.
What? Related to what?
Related to race.
Oh, that's something else.
Cause like, you know, I mean, you'd be surprised how many events there are where people do shit just like that.
I think Willie died a hero. I think Willie was a flawed man. His invention was a devil.
Of course you think that. Of course.
I think he died. He sacrificed himself to alert.
Willie was a coon.
Wow.
That's all he was.
You always like change your standards. Like when it comes to Eriwn, he's an evil, dirty, twisted son of a bitch. And when it comes to Willie Tybur, he's heroic. He redeemed himself.
I just said he's the devil. I just said he was evil. I said he died a hero. Eriwn was also a disgusting, morally depraved, wicked person who's also in hell right now.
Eriwn died a hero too.
Eriwn died a hero. Yeah, but Eriwn died a hero.
Alright, cool.
Make us the depraved, wicked person who's burning in hell right next to Willie Tybur and Eriwn Smith.
Stars?
Died a hero. Stars? She's in hell, Kenda.
I'm still waiting for one action that she did was wrong. That's not guilt by association.
A burial.
Guilt by association. La. Guilt by association.
Okay.
Guilt by association. She fired Thunder Spears at Laura Tybur.
No, I never said that wasn't a problem.
Oh yeah. By the
Exactly.
way,
So
if
you're
if
just
you
saying
think
guilt by
that
association. That's actually what she
No.
did in that period.
No, this is not. We already had our debate because so.
by the way, if you
It's like-
think that Lara Tiber was underdeveloped, it just fill that in by saying that whatever Willie said, just copy and paste that onto her. It like literally just imagine Willie as the Warhammer Titan.
Yeah. Make it to the now. Daily reminder. Daily reminder.
It's over.
That's what she wants to. Listen. I don't know if there's a lot of there's a lot of Christians who believe that like the unbeliever ultimately rejects God, so they would rather go to hell without God than be with God in heaven. They would rather that. My father also has another theory. He talks about the there's water or there's liquid coming from the Lord's throne, and it's described in some passages as water because it's refreshing and nice and cool, and it's described other places as like fire, which is like a fire is hell. So it's the same area, it's just experienced by people differently. So people who hate God experience it as hell. People who do like God experience it as cool and refreshing. My point in this is to say that at the end of the day, even though it is suffering and pain for her, at the end of the day, hell is exactly where Mikasa wants to be because that's where Eriwn is. So comfort yourself with that fact. Anyway,
Now,
so the reason
I gotta say, we might gotta wrap this up soon. One of the reasons is because Binger fell asleep, and my food it has been out for like more than an hour.
I have like one more pondering to get through. Okay, that's up. So, the Warriors. So obviously, as we mentioned, like I'm not saying the Warriors are right or they're good people. I do think though there's a reason to question what the Warriors' actions. So, and this is
In the Uprising Arc?
With the coup. No, this is loose. It's what I say. This is loosely related. Uprising does kind of relates to the whole was the coup justified? Blah blah blah. But just kind of a little bit. Because Eriwn mentions exactly, just handed over just trusted the government and handed Eriwn over to them, yada yada yada, and then the Warriors would have even taken Eriwn back to Marley, which leads to this question: was the Warriors actually? What was the story trying to say about that? Because in the end of season 2, so chapter 50, Reiner says the worst possible person to get this power is you, Eriwn, which gets recontextualized, obviously, to be like, you're supposed to think, oh, that's correct, exactly correct. The worst person to get this power was Eriwn. And then I'll never forget the scene. It's such a powerful, to me, it was such a powerful scene. At the end of, in 124, Hitch is asking Annie why she did all that she did. And Annie's, voice in rumbling, she says, to prevent that. So, which is true. That's exactly what the reason why they're going there. So, given the retrospects of the rumbling, and again, I know we're all Jaegerists here, okay, myself included, obviously, but I'm Beluga the Jaegers.
I'm not a Jaegerist. What?
Irrespective of our own personal beliefs, what do you think the story's trying to say about the wars and what they're trying to do? Actually, here I'll start an argument so we can facilitate this conversation. Do you believe the Warriors were justified? Justified in doing what they were doing, trying to retake the founder?
Hell no.
They weren't.
Oh,
I
no.
don't even have to think about that much. They weren't. Absolutely not.
Why?
They didn't even know what the fuck they were doing.
Because they caused the rumbling, and the story sort of says like
Where?
General Mueller when he does his little speech thing.
I can tell you where. I can tell you where. If you remember in season 2.
That's our hatred coming back to us, or whatever he said.
No, if you remember in season 2, this man Eriwn said when he was fighting Reiner that now that I think about it, your plan had a lot of holes in it. That was scenes.
Oh, yes.
That was the scenes like right after he got punched, and he was getting back consciousness. He's actually thinking.
Yeah, what is your point in saying that?
You said what?
What was your point in saying that, bringing up that scene?
I said that the Warriors didn't truly know what the fuck they were really doing. Like, they were not doing stuff right. This man Reiner, him, Bertel, and Annie did all of that based
That's
on
right.
like a hunch. Like, they were really rolling the dice on. Well, I wouldn't say a hunch. They were rolling a dice because they wanted to bring the founder out. Like, if the founder was really the type of Titan that, like, the type of person that you could actually trigger, they could have actually caused the rumbling that exact moment. Like, if the royal family were the type of people to retaliate, because you're essentially causing mass genocide just to be like, oh hey, you gonna come out yet? Like, come on now.
Isn't that more justification to attack?
If they didn't attack, they would have sat there in the walls for the next 500 years. There was no danger. There was only danger when they came and knocked down the fucking
Marley
walls.
just wanted to add the founder to their territory. Like,
Please
bro,
explain.
Marley didn't even ask them to take down the walls like that. That was their plan, bro. Your entire idea was to be like, oh, you gonna come out of hiding yet? It wasn't even to have them go out. I mean, maybe they said that, but they weren't even like directly saying that they were causing those Titans to come in to go and eat the founder. Like, it was so flawed of a plan, and you killed so many people. And then flash forward a couple years later, freaking Annie is carrying both Reiner and Bertolt the entire way through. And then not even Annie can stay true to the plan because the stuff
Armin.
with dynamics and stuff, whatever. But yeah, like, bro, they were not justified. They were kids doing that. Like, they're not even old enough to rationally think for themselves truly. Like, they don't even have a sense of right or wrong, like, on an adult level.
Bullshit. They knew what they were doing.
Reiner didn't. I can tell you that.
Yes, he did. Yeah. Let's just drop this up. No, I'm gonna rank about Reiner. I'm so sick and tired of people. First off, not only just the meat riding Reiner. Actually, I saw a tweet today, or not today, maybe it was yesterday. They said that their top two characters were Eriwn and guess who? Reiner. They compared the brilliant, excellent, well-crafted character Eriwn to this third-rate slot side character Reiner. I am absolutely, completely baffled. This Reiner meat riding has to end. It has to end. Please pull. I know he's handsome, but pull his endowed member out of your fucking mouth, please. And secondly, stop this. Reiner knew exactly what he was doing. He developed a split personality bullshit because he wanted to escape his guilt. You know why people feel guilt? Because they know what they're doing is wrong.
Damn.
He knew what he was doing.
Damn.
It's like,
yo. Yo, I did.
And he feels bad for himself, and all people feel bad for him.
What?
No, they're so petty and selfish.
Yo, how did?
Selfish. It hurts everyone around him.
Yo, are you crying?
126. No, man, I'm so sick and tired of people making excuses for Reiner. And like, oh, I feel so bad for. Oh, he's like, no.
Damn.
He knew exactly what he was doing. And furthermore, it's self-pity. this self-pity, this, oh, I'm such a bad person, oh, woe is me, oh, I can never forgive myself, this is not cute, this is not good, it's not development, this is bad, this is selfish.
Bro, I was just saying that, like, this man, when I say he didn't know what he was doing, I'm saying, like, he was a shitty planner. like I wasn't even saying nothing like that. Like, what is going on?
No.
Like, that's why I said there. Eriwn said there was holes in your plan. Like, what? How did we get here?
Clock hit 12 a.m. Beluga instantly lost his
like, dog, like, it almost sounded like he was crying.
Way too long.
Hey man, they tried to cancel me one time. That didn't work out too well, did it?
Look, all I'm saying is go off. I'd much rather hear you rant like that than be talking about your dumb fucking pyramid. So yeah, go and get off, bro. Rant as much as you want. I don't see how that shit fits in your pyramid, but who gives a fuck, honestly.
Okay, the ultimate. Okay, I think we covered a lot of ground. Right? I hope. Unless anyone wants to bring up any more topics, I think I'm all.
This was like about twice as long as this should have been. But
I'm very.
All right,
very
for the final topic.
Dude,
do you think
who's not in the server to watch the whole thing and prove to me that they watched the whole thing, I will buy them an Amazon gift card. Just like
you owe me $200.
No. Hold on, everybody.
You owe me
It's worth it. It's worth it, bro.
You owe me. You should buy me like an Amazon gift card.
Okay, if you can prove somebody watched this whole thing start to finish, I will put $20 on my tab.
Cool. To quote Annie, I'm a field warrior.
Okay, here's the final question for the entire Uprising arc. So the final question is for you, Kidna. All right, you ready? Do you think that Beluga is the perfect wife for Pastor Nick?
What?
I honestly think they were made for each other. They remind me of each other.
Really? Why?
Oh yeah.
What?
They're both
Why?
like, you know. Sometimes you just can't put things into words. Like, how do I put it, bro?
Cook.
Just come on, like Pastor Nick. Like, come on, bro. Like, it's like I think it's probably the one character in the whole series who reminds me of Beluga the most.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Like,
why? Wait, why? This is a random. This is so. First, it was that girl. It was the guy from Avatar who killed Katara's mom. You said I was like him.
Did that not click for you? Mirror, it makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's spitting facts like Beluga. You gotta agree.
Can you please explain? I have no idea what you're talking about.
I tried to explain some things just can't be
No,
explained.
Mirror. No, I'm asking Mirror to explain. I'm asking Mirror to explain.
Bro, it's like you have to understand that there are things that require subtext, like subliminal messaging. Like, you have to realize that there's a point where it's just facts, you know?
Are you just trolling? Is this like a troll? Is this like an elaborate joke?
I'm not joking. Pastor Nick reminds me of you. I'm dead.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
Yes.
Is it a good way or a bad? I can see the ball going both ways.
I mean, you know, everything's about perspective.
Hey, I mean, that man Pastor Nick is the GOAT. Like, you know, I'm just saying, like, who's beating Pastor Nick? Not Goku, but you know.
Bro, that dude has like titanium balls. Like, he was literally like, yo, throw me off this shit. I don't give a fuck. Like, he had that like Muslim spirit in him. You know, he's like, I'm not afraid to die. Do what you want.
Yeah, that's a good
Pastor Nick is the true king of the walls.
Everything is about perspective, bro. It depends.
What do you? I mean, I think he has good qualities and bad qualities.
I mean, I'm just saying, Pastor Nick should have been the one to have the founding titan. Like, let's be honest.
Are you? Wait, seriously? Is this serious? That's like a real thing. You actually remember with Pastor Nick?
Yes.
Pastor Nick can shoot better than FaZe Gabby. I'm just saying.
Gabby, go. Gabby's best thing was killing Sasha.
Pastor Nick would have assassinated the whole squad. I'm just saying.
I am so happy. I was like leaping for joy when Sasha died.
What?
Damn.
What kind of person?
Oh.
What?
Okay, nah. Oh hell
so
no.
glad she's dead.
Oh hell no. Do the outro.
What kind of person? Yeah, just hit the outro, bro.
Nah, hit the outro, cause we're going off screen for this.
Okay.
That's like telling me like somebody like celebrated when they saw like a kitten drown or something. Like why? Like,
are we still rolling?
You need to do your outro. Come on now.
Okay, guys. Thank you for tuning into this extra large podcast. Unfortunately, Kendra did not find it very helpful or informative, which is very unfortunate. But I hope you at least found it informative and at the very least entertaining. So yeah, thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you in my next video.